gentlemen.
Bryan.
I said
Bryan.
gentleman. Is a gentleman.
You will address us as Wes Jay. How many times do I got to tell you this?
This is really why we only do the show once a week now.
We're combined like Voltron.
No, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Wow. Yep. I'm glad we do this once a week. You guys ready to start the show?
Sure. Let's go for it.
Wait, typical sloth in the chat says, what does the without parole part of the name mean? Well, first of all, that's the
only. Didn't you just talk about this?
It's the.
How many times we got to go through this?
No. Listen. Like we've said it 1,000 times. I'm not going to tell the story again. But without parole is no longer part of the name. It is just the name. So don't forget that. Let's start the show. This is PSVR GameScast Live. We film live every single Wednesday right here on YouTube. We do it live 6 p.m. Eastern for your viewing pleasure. My name is Bryan Paul from this channel right here, PSVR Without Parole. Really should change the name tag so that I read the name of the channel properly. Sloth got me all thrown off. And to my right, my hetero life mate is AJ from the Underground. PSVR Underground. What's up, AJ?
What is up, Bryan? What is up, Wesley? What is up, Gamecats? Happy Wes Jay, everybody! Woo! Yeah. Man, yeah, it feels like I've been away for a while because
it's been a while.
I in the last 2 weeks, I think this is the only thing I've done, and but yeah, happy to be back and loud and obnoxious and talk about the PSVR2. Whoop whoop.
Self-awareness is a beautiful thing, AJ.
we are also happy that you're back. Less happy about the loud, obnoxious part. Speaking of which, on the right-hand side of the screen, that is Wes Dillon from Virtual Strangers. What's up, man? Welcome back from your behemoth of a trip.
My extended hiatus. It's been a few weeks since I've been on here, right? Like I missed the show.
It's been a while.
A week off. It's been a while. You know who loves an extended hiatus, by the way? No, it's good to be back, man. I got to say, man, I felt some major FOMO watching, I guess it was Ryan first, and then Jammy Hero set in for the State of Play thing. And yeah, I'm happy to be back in my chair where I rightfully belong.
That's right. Fuck you, Jammy. We love jamming, we love Ryan, and we've actually had, because whenever we have guests on, it actually leads to people saying, well, will you ever have this person on? And the answer is no. Whoever you're asking about, we're not having on. I do really want to focus on the rest of 2024. When somebody's absent from the show, I would love to shine the spotlight on people like Jammy, who definitely deserve more subscribers. They're smaller channels. Look at people like Gamertag and stuff. Like, they don't need our fucking help, right? Like, they're doing just fine out there. A wolf in VR. Guess what? He doesn't even know who we are. He's so big, right? Every time Nathy talks to me, I'm like, yes, my lord. Thank you for recognizing me. So like, let's we gotta pull people up. There's no reason to drag other people down to our level.
No, I feel you. To be honest, Jammy Hero was someone that was kind of been on my radar as a PR guy in the industry for some time, so it was kind of cool to see him coming on here and getting some exposure as a smaller YouTuber who does focus quite a bit on PlayStation VR2. So yeah, pretty awesome. Kudos to you.
Yeah, if you don't focus on PSVR2, then you're not on the list.
I want to get Jim Ryan on here. That's who I want. If I could have anybody.
Well, you just wait another year or two and then realize how good we had it under Jim Ryan, and then we'll have him on. And you can express your apologies to him directly on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's how it's gonna go. This is going to be a very vitriolic episode. I can feel it already. Man, guys, listen, before we get into actual show stuff, this is my only real chance to get to hang out with the cats and hang out with you guys every week. I've got to express I got to talk about the flat screen games I've been playing this week, and as expected, they're the ones that you would expect me to have played, right? They're certainly not, Horizon DLC or anything AAA. But holy crap, guys, I've been playing Crow Country, kind of like the survival horror PS1 style, adventure game. It is fantastic if you're like me and you just have those nostalgia glasses on constantly, or you're dying for like a new PlayStation 1 game. Crow Country is fantastic. And it's definitely creepy too. The sound design's awesome. Like it manages to like deliver everything I'm looking for in a game. And so far I'm having a blast with that. But also Animal Well, which I know like everyone has been jumping up and down about. Very good 2D not side scrolling, 2D kind of Metroidvania platform adventure game. Very 8 or 16-bit style. But I'll tell you, man, it's only when you're playing it with the DualSense and you feel every jump, like, and you feel everything like that. They fucking nail the haptics so well for what should be just an 8 or 16-bit game, that it makes just jumping in that game fun, right? So sometimes haptics do way more for a game than you'd expect, but the game itself is fantastic too. So Animal Well and Crow Country, if anybody's looking for some kind of like retro inspired new games, both of those I couldn't recommend either one of them enough.
I love this movement, this new retro inspired movement, where these smaller indie studios are taking literally the genres that we grew up playing and used to love. And I'm sure that many of you, like myself, used to sit and kind of daydream about what the future of video games would be, and instead of being able to think about the cinematic first person games that we have today, our thoughts were often about the games at that time with expanded capabilities. And obviously the industry went in another direction, but I think it's so cool that these smaller studios now have kind of circled back around and led to that kind of alternate reality for us. It was everywhere at PAX, right? Like when we were out on the floor, it was like every other game that you looked at was one of these retro inspired things.
Yeah, Animal Well was actually at PAX, and I remember Elvert coming. We had left PAX at one point, and he was, and we were sitting in the car getting back to the hotel. With Samson driving us, and that's all he was talking about was like this game Animal Well. Samson, you got to check out Animal Well. And he told me all about it, and I was like, geez, like this Animal Well game really hit Elvert hard. And then finally it comes out, everybody's raving about it. So Elvert definitely had the inside scoop on that one.
Shout out Elvert.
Hell yeah! What up, Elvert? Dude's got bruises from head to toe because he's been wrestling. Because he's training to be a wrestling referee, and so he's been doing actual wrestling and shit. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, dude, bruises from head to toe though. It's insane, dude. I was like, I would have definitely given up on that shit day one. He's on week 3 or whatever it is. I don't even know, but shout out to Elvert.
I've got this mental image of Elvert in a singlet and a coonskin cap, and it's just awesome.
Oh man, I have a feeling that's not far off. I want to play some Crow Country trailer here while we're talking, because man, I really just look at this. How can you not love the look of this? It's so PlayStation 1. Oh my god. Yep.
So if we're just talking about anything now,
oh yeah,
can I mention something?
No, that's a privilege I get, AJ. It does not extend to you.
I mean, this is my show, but okay, fine.
What would you like to talk about, AJ?
I not talk about. I just wanted to give a shout out to Godzilla -1, which sweet. It just came out on streaming services, and I just checked that out, and I've been waiting for that movie to get a digital release for so long, and I finally saw it. I'm a big Godzilla fan, but kind of like horror movies, it's like you get one good Godzilla movie like maybe every decade.
Hey,
shout out.
Horror movies aren't that bad.
Oh, they're terrible. They're awful all the time, but I still watch them.
Okay.
I watched that Tarot movie you told me about, but
oh wait,
I think you told me about.
I told you not to watch Tarot. Tarot was terrible. I saw it in the theater.
It was terrible. It was visually nice.
It was terrible.
But no, dude, Godzilla -1. Highly recommend everybody go out and watch that. It was awesome.
I want to say Damon Hatfield on GameScoop was talking about that movie when it first came to theaters. He's a big Godzilla fan as well. And he was saying that you don't even have to be a Godzilla fan to enjoy it. It's just a solid movie. Would you agree with that?
That you don't have to be a fan? Yeah. No, like it's the best Godzilla movie I've ever seen. Absolutely. Like finally. Because most of them I hate. Just like horror movies.
You hate Godzilla. Godzilla's awesome, dude. It's funny. The old ones are hilarious.
I love the old ones, and I surprisingly liked the Godzilla versus Kong. The one that had like Mecha Godzilla in it or whatever. Spoiler alert, sorry. That one was actually surprisingly good. But no, like the one with like Bryan Cranston and stuff, like I hated that one.
That was bad. I saw that in the theater, yeah.
Yeah. This one is dope though. Highly recommend.
My favorite Godzilla movie, sorry for the spoilers, it's Cloverfield.
Yeah. I love Cloverfield.
It's a big old kaiju movie, but it's found footage kaiju, which is like fucking yes, dude. Like let's combine a bunch of genres that I love. Right.
I also really love Pacific Rim, the first one.
I've never seen it. I know.
I don't think you'd like it.
For shame. Oh, really?
But, yeah, it's an action movie.
Yeah. Probably wouldn't like it.
But it was amazing, and I supported the hell out of that movie. I was like, this is so great. This is exactly what I wanted.
Hey, Wes, while we're on the topic of shit that has nothing to do with this episode of GamesCast Live, what have you been up to that has nothing to do with VR?
Nothing to do with VR. Not much, honestly. Not unless you want me to like talk about how I've been trying to find a new lawnmower because my old one broke.
I mean, I'm sure there's people that care about that.
Man.
Yeah, you were a little joke for a second, so it was good timing.
I like how you asked Wes, asked him something about nothing to do with VR, and you could see the smoke start coming out of his ears. And
I work in VR, and when I'm not working in VR, I'm podcasting about VR. Like literally, most of my life is VR. So
I've been playing tons of VR for the record. You guys want to talk about some VR?
You want to talk about Unreal Engine VR? Because I played Sackboy this past Saturday, and it was amazing in VR. I almost had forgotten what it felt like to be in a AAA platformer. It's been so long since I've played one. Just so colorful and beautiful, and a one-click VR mod on PC, and didn't even see a pixel in the headset. If you squint your eyes and look closely, you just couldn't see it. It was so crystal clear and beautiful, and just a fun co-op game. It was awesome.
Can't wait. Platformers don't really do it for me anymore, but in VR, oh yeah. And with the recent announcement that I'm sure we're going to be covering on today's episode, definitely going to dive into that some more.
We may or may not be. Time to switch over to the Sackboy trailer after everyone's done talking about Sackboy. That's, in case anybody's wondering, that's exactly how long it takes me to search up and then download and then bring up a trailer, is the length of a conversation about said game. Oh, wow, this would look amazing in VR.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. And Bush in the chat says, Sackboy has VR? Oh, it's a mod. Yeah, and I look forward to the next couple of months, as I'm sure this is going to become a relatively hot topic in our community as things start to happen that we're going to talk about later in the show.
All right. Well, before we get to the show itself, the show proper, we definitely want to give a shout out to, there's tips we got to get to. There's people who support us financially. There's people who tune in all the time. But whenever AJ's on the show, there's another group of people we want to thank, isn't there, AJ?
That's right, Brian. We would like to thank those who support us in another way by changing their name to something Gamecat, something Gamecat related, or something Gamecat adjacent, as something Gamecat adjacent like to say. And this week we have 4 new Gamecats, so welcome to the Gamecat Dojo. Starting with, I like this one already. Quill, the giant enemy crab Gamecat.
Bing! I have no idea where these are going to show up on the screen because I didn't prepare for the show as always. So this is good. Giant enemy crab. And we were discussing this before the show, AJ. This was from the, I believe, the PlayStation 3 reveal at E3, and this was the same E3, I believe, where they were like, Ridge Racer, it's Ridge Racer. It's like,
that one's got all the famous quotes, huh?
Right. $599 US.
Yeah. Crickets.
Thank you, Quill. Who else we got, AJ?
We've also got Mr. Twisted Black Gamecat.
Bing! Oh, I gotta move it because we can't see it. Which it has to be Twisted Metal Black, right? This is what we're going with here. Okay,
that's what we're gonna make it.
Overthinking it.
What a great game! What a great franchise!
The best game in the franchise. Don't at me. Don't fucking at me on this. I am correct. You know it.
Yeah.
We're moving on.
Yeah.
Like vibe wise, right? They couldn't convey this kind of darkness and like in chaoticness on the PlayStation 1, and so this being the first entry on PS2, man, they fucking brought it, and the frame rate was like rock solid too.
I think it's. I mean, I think the stories are probably the best in that one, the storytelling, but I would still probably say 2 is probably the best. We've also got Patty Cat. Something, Patty Cat.
Boom, 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 bing. Oh, there you are.
Wes is dancing.
That's good. Dude, people overcomplicate this shit. You don't need to overcomplicate. If you change your name to Gamecat, then you could just put cat at the end of your name, like, right? But Patty Cat is good. Also, I know you can't see the PFP, AJ, but I'm a little concerned because the picture looks like ribs, and I'm like, just hope those are not cat ribs.
Finally, last but certainly not least, and possibly my favorite one here so far yet, we've got Mr. Bond. Our game cats have been expecting you.
Bing. Gotta bring this one up too. Jeez. Hold on a second. Bring this one down. Oh my god. There we go. Now you can. Nope. Oh, OBS. One day I will murder you. This one's really good. It's elaborate, but I love it. Guys, if you change your name to Gamecat over on YouTube or Google because you love us almost as much as we love you, then make sure you put hashtag Gamecat underneath any Without Parole videos so that we can give you a shout out, or AJ can give you a shout out next time he's on the show. AJ, I don't think you're on next week's show, right? So we may have 2 weeks of shout outs to do. I've learned the hard way not to do this without you because I just screw it up every time.
Word.
Yeah.
At least it gives more name changes to call out, which is nice.
More name.
More name.
All right, let's see, dude. Let's see what the cats and the tips are up to over here in the chat. First tip comes to us from Gang Dump with the $5 tip. Says, hope everyone's having a great week. It's good to be here with you guys. Thank you, Gang Dump.
Having a wonderful week, Gang Dump.
Gang Dump. And no, listen, not gonna lie. With a name like Gang Dump, it has to be good. No, it's like, it sounds like a troll name, doesn't it? It's like, Gang Dump. I'm just gonna come here and shit on things, but he's fucking crazy positive. Like, how can you gotta love Gang Dump?
Gang Dump style.
Yes. God. Son WTF with the $5 tip says, this is your weekly reminder to take your voices over to PlayStation social media and represent hashtag PSVR2 and hashtag Gamecat Army. Hell's motherfucking yeah. Son WTF.
Take it to any Astro Bot post that you see, and there are a lot of them.
Yep.
I've just been replying all of them with PSVR2.
I saw it. They're like, brand new Astro merch, and I just see Wes just has a comment. Nothing else, just says PSVR2. I should have liked it. Why didn't I like it?
I feel like a traitor because I bought one of the shirts. I should have been like, I'll buy a shirt if you give us a PSVR2 game. But I was like, you know what? I bought the shirt, and I'm excited.
Shirts look sweet, don't they?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Although then like 2 days later, I got an email that says like it's out of stock, and I was like, maybe you could have told me that before I hit the purchase button. Like, thanks, Sony.
That's why you usually put out of stock or something, or you don't let them add to cart.
Right. Exactly. But no, they want your money, man. They want your money, and they don't care how they have to get it.
Like, yeah, you'll get this, sometime later when it becomes available again.
Exactly.
Vince Virtua in the chat says Astro Bot got a new VR trademark thing. Yes, but fake news.
Yeah.
Anyone who took 5 seconds to look at that could see that it was on a long list of any possible way that the Astro Bot trademark could be used. So there was like AR stuff on there, mobile games, like books, comic books, film. And if we're using the logic that this means there's going to be a VR game, then that just means that literally Astro Bot is going to have media on every possible digital platform out there. And it's not that. It's just them basically covering all the bases of what possibly could be the Astro trademark can be used on.
Returnal had that same thing.
You're not accusing Polish Paul of not doing his due diligence, are you? There's no way we could be accusing Polish Paul of just pushing out a video without researching anything at all. Right?
Well, I didn't say any names, and I'm not the accusatory type. But,
I am. But
when I heard that, I looked into it, and as soon as I clicked on it, I was like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I'm more than happy to say it because I feel like Polish Paul and I take any opportunity to poke at each other whenever possible. Does not mean we don't love each other, but it might also mean that we don't love each other. There's really no way of telling in this conversation. Mischievous Markio, the underground Gamecat with the level 2 membership says it's because no one gets parole around here. That's the name of the channel, Without Parole. It just means more than an addiction, right? It's sentenced to life without parole when it comes to gaming, and specifically PlayStation VR. Now let's Ryan the Game Feeling with the $5 tip. It says, in my best...
Wait, I've got this one, Brian.
Please.
I've got this one.
Thank you.
He says, okay, earphones warning. He says, in my best Gerard Butler voice, this is PSVR2! In my best Gerard Butler voice.
Thank you. The Nihilist Ryan, I hope you feel like you got your $5 worth. Please don't ever anyone tip that ever again. Mal with the $2 tip says, you mean it's not without parole because of the sirens? Dude, one day we're gonna hear a bunch of sirens and then they're just gonna drag me out of here and I'm gonna be like, that was fun. All right. We'll get back to the tips in a little bit because we have a lot of things to talk about on today's show. Now, it is it feels like doing this show one time a week means that sometime almost an entire week's worth a week can go by and where we haven't talked about shit. Me and Miles and Jamie covered the state of play last week, but both Wes and AJ, neither one of them were here to talk about it. And so, guys, you know, I don't want to go absolutely crazy with this, but because you're here and because you haven't had a chance to voice your opinions on this channel, at least, guys, if you don't know, AJ and Wes both have their own channels where I'm sure they discuss this at length. Make sure you subscribe to their channels. Click the link in the description below. But for anyone who's not subscribed, AJ, what was your impression of State of Play last week overall?
It was amazing, Brian.
Oh, it's good to hear.
You know why? Because Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah,
no, actually,
I listen. I knew you were going to be really happy about that. I think I even gave you a shout out on the show, being like, "Oh, good, somebody cares."
I actually was watching in the chat. I was watching along with you guys. I was in a parking lot. I pulled over and was in a parking lot watching because I couldn't be there, unfortunately. But yeah, I was watching in my car on my phone. Along with you guys, of course, I saw a bunch of you there, and yeah, man, the two games, the two VR games, I thought overall, like everything included, I actually thought it was a really good state of play for the most part. Some of those games, like, you know, they're like, but
I mean, wait. I mean, listen, to spend the first 10 minutes on Concord was it's like, this is only going to be a half-hour show. You spent the first 10 minutes on one of the 14 games. It was a little concerning, but you know, so be it.
Yeah, I mean, well, Concord's like their first party. You know, they just purchased Firewalk Studios, and they showed that off, and you know, the animation visually, it looked really pretty and stuff, and then I, like, you know, they're trying to do this. It looked like a Marvel movie or something, and had like some humor with it, sci-fi, and then Yeah, that was like a long trailer. I was like, cool, like that's all I needed to see. And then like I saw the gameplay and I'm like, oh, it's like a 5v5 like
It's a
hero shooter thing.
yeah.
I'm not into that kind of stuff. So um but uh but yeah, man, I mean we had our predictions as to like what they were gonna show, and I think we were all pretty much spot on, I want to say, when we said like, you know, there's probably gonna be 2 VR games, most likely. And the blog did kind of set expectations, saying that we were going to see some updates to some PSVR2 games. We knew that it wasn't going to be new games. So we had guessed like Behemoth. We actually did mention Alien, and but we were thinking maybe Aces of Thunder, which wasn't there.
Probably Wander, but yeah, I mean, like there were a lot of options. But so I don't think anything we saw was a surprise PSVR wise. But I mean, but we did see actual gameplay of Alien VR, Rogue Incursion. What was it, 15 total seconds of gameplay? Did that do it for you? Was it enough to get excited?
Oh, I mean, yeah, because I'm like so in the mood for it. And I think they're timing it well. We've got this new movie, right? This Alien Romulus or something coming out that I want to go see. And if it kind of coincides with that release, there's going to be lots of Alien hype, especially if they're both really good. But yeah, I hate to say it, but like Alien I was actually almost a little bit like, I don't know, more excited a little bit, just because I don't know, it just seems fresher than like a fantasy, RPG. That being said, like I'm so excited for Behemoth, I can't wait. Like that is still probably one of, if not my most anticipated games coming out. But yeah, I thought both games looked pretty good. And yeah, even though the Alien thing was just a teaser, I pray to God it's really good, because like the fact that we're getting a, VR only Alien game is pretty sweet.
Wes, what did you think? Wes is going to have the floor for most of Behemoth. Let's be fair. So, but I am curious, man. Like, obviously we've been, I don't know, cautiously optimistic, I guess, about the Alien VR game, because it is coming from Survios, and like they've been a little bit hit or miss, and they've been almost absent recently as far as game development's concerned, or announcements are concerned about their games. Whereas last gen they were like just fucking every 9 months it was like, here's your new Survios game. This has been years in the making, and we finally see a gameplay reveal. What did you think of it, Wes?
So for Alien specifically, I thought it was cool. I'm glad that they surprisingly made their initial trailer a gameplay trailer. As short as it was still gameplay, and that alone is enough for us to tell that at least they're nailing the vibe. Like
Yep.
this game looks and feels the way that it should. Now, will the gameplay be fun? Will it not be fun? I like you, am cautiously optimistic. I do expect it to be a bit arcadey, but that's fine. We've played arcadey Aliens branded shooters before, and they're great. So this does seem to be a bit more on the scary side than some of those games are, which is great for me. I love horror games. I love scary games, and this one looks like it has the potential to be downright terrifying. They shared some screenshots yesterday of just like environments,
Yeah.
and it very much in line with what we saw during the trailer. So as far as like the Alien gameplay trailer goes, I was happy about it. I thought it was good.
And of course, the other game that we saw last week was Behemoth. We had seen a CGI trailer, and we finally got our first look at gameplay, or some of us got our first look at gameplay. And I got to say, I don't think I could have been any more excited about it. I thought it looked fantastic. AJ, you got something to say. So I instead of passing it straight off to Wes for his actual hands-on impressions, give me your impressions of the trailer, and then we'll let Wes talk a little bit about what.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the trailer for State of Play, like I thought looked pretty decent. But it was the gameplay, like because there was like the B-reel stuff that was shown after, that was just nothing but gameplay, right? It wasn't an edited trailer. It was like, here's just 10 minutes of the game or whatever. That looked phenomenal. All the little different things, like, you know, just the base gameplay mechanics, the physics, of course, it's Skydance. Graphically, it looks gorgeous. And like the arms look really fluid and like realistic. And of course, there's like the grappling mechanic. And then the behemoths themselves look super cool. So I did actually also watch your interview with that you two did together. Great job with that, and you know, was awesome getting kind of the breakdown of what it was like getting some hands on with it. And I totally agree with you, Wes, that like although there's going to be like, you know, a bunch of little things here and there that are super sweet, the experience of being in the presence of those behemoths is going to be something really, really cool, and I can't wait for that. And yeah, great showing. Two great games. I think Alien, you know, may have got a couple more like bigger attention because it's Aliens and people are just more familiar with the IP. That's the problem that VR games have. New IP VR games going up against well-established franchises like that for decades or whatever. They're always going to have a slight disadvantage. But that being said, like everything I saw from Behemoth looked to be pretty fun and fantastic.
Looper in the chat, Looper the Underground Gamecat says, "Have you seen the actual gameplay by Ian Higton?" I have not, because I saw Wes's entire hour-long gameplay session. And here's the thing: I mean, Skydance was basically like, you know, use this B-roll, don't use Wes's footage. And I gotta say, I'm really sad that we couldn't use Wes's footage because there was so much stuff that Wes was doing. He was getting very experimental in the environments and searching every corner. And I was like, this is the kind of shit that I really want to show that's not going to be in the B-roll. So I haven't seen Ian's footage specifically, but I have seen Wes's full hour. And Wes, man, oh man, it looked like you were having a lot of fun in that footage. Tell us a little bit more about it, man.
Yeah, it was really awesome. So a couple of things. First of all, yeah, I did record my entire gameplay session, and I'm still trying to work on getting permission to release that. They didn't look at it and decline it. They asked us not to show our own footage because of a very minor visual defect that was in all the footage, including Ian Higdon's, by the way. For whatever reason, he got special permission, and when I saw that, I renewed my request to release my footage. And if I can make that happen for everyone, I absolutely will. Secondly, I want to thank the crew at Skydance Games for being just so awesome to us. We showed up, three of us, myself, Eric, and Jasmine, and we were scheduled for 15-minute demo each, and they did not hold us to that. They let us play at our own pace. And as you all know, I play very, very slowly and meticulously. And not only that, but the head of creative was there, and he answered every question that I had. So if you're wondering why there's maybe some information that you're hearing in Bryan and my interview video, it's because I asked asked the questions and they told me the answers. So shout out to Skydance for being so awesome. But anyway, no, the game, or the demo, I should say, because I did not get to play the game proper. What I got to play was what they call a vertical slice demo. And what a vertical slice demo is it's something that's made specifically to pitch your game to a platform holder. So this would have been a demo that they built most likely to show Sony or maybe even Meta what the game is going to be like and what it's going to play like. And now they've repurposed that to let influencers get a taste of the game as well. And it is using real assets and environments from the game, but you know, it's slightly modified. There's less enemies in the version that I played, and a lot of the sections of the level had been taken out to make it a shorter experience. But they assured me that it was 100% representative of the final product, and it was just great. It was visceral, hand-to-hand combat. You could tell it was coming from Skydance because of the physics were spot on perfect, and it looked just beautiful in the PSVR2 headset.
Can you?
That was maybe the. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry for interrupting. We did talk about this in the interview. You said that they were confirming it was using DFR, running at 90 native, so I'm sure it felt really smooth. But there are games that do this, and in the focal point doesn't always look crazy crisp. Were you feeling like the resolution was like? Sorry, sirens on my end. Were you feeling like the resolution was like through the roof? Was it really sharp? I mean, we played Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution on PSVR2, and that was insanely sharp. Were you getting similar vibes
like
from
4K.
that? Right.
Yeah, no, it was very sharp. It didn't have that haze to it like a game like you see Horizon, where things as they get further away from you start to lose detail a little bit. It was super sharp throughout, and they were very proud to tell me that through the magic of dynamic foveated rendering, that basically the PlayStation VR2 version of the game is equivalent to the PC version of the game on ultra settings, and it very much seemed to be the case.
Nice.
Spirit of Power 666 says, I did see it's not all snow biomes, it's varied, which is nice. I 100% agree with that. That was probably my most the most exciting part of the trailer for me was they have this like muddy, kind of environment, and it changes up the look visually. It'll just be a nice visual change up to kind of keep things fresh visually in the game. So really excited about that, and can't wait to see what other biomes they have.
Right. They were showing that last scene to show. Sorry, they were showing that last scene to obviously show a different Behemoth just for a second before he steps on you. But that's like not what any of us apparently were paying attention to. We're all like, "Ooh, look, it's not snow."
Yeah,
and it like honestly,
I like how the character like tries to shoot an arrow at the foot too. He's like, like that's gonna do anything.
This is gonna mildly irritate him. Right, and also kill me. No, but like it's but dude, I keep imagining like that. You get to a point where it's like just this like lush green area, like where it's like dramatically different, and obviously,
or even like swampy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we just have no idea other than that brief glimpse we got at the end of the trailer.
Yeah, I would expect most of it to be icy, honestly, because all of their like pre-reveal marketing was in this kind of snowy, icy land. Now, obviously, it could deviate from that later in the game, but I'm surprised most of it is cold and icy. The environments do kind of they're not. How should I put this? Like it is a lot of the same. It's a lot of snow and ice, rocks, and ruins. Right, ruins of castle, pretty much everywhere. What really made it stand out from a visual standpoint are all the kind of little things that often get overlooked in these type of games. For example, you'll notice that when the Behemoth takes a step or smashes his ball and chain into the ground, that it kicks the ice and snow up into the air, and then there's this kind of light mist of ice that kind of covers everything. You'll notice if you bang your weapons together, sparks will fly off of it. It was this type of attention to detail that made the experience very immersive, visually speaking.
Great character design too. I love the look of the merchant and the like NPCs. Like I love it when they get a little stylish, a little creative with that instead of, generic medieval person wearing generic armor. It was nice when they have a little pizzazz.
It's cool. Their armor is destructible. So what some of these guys will come at you and they'll be totally like covered up. But you chip away at that stuff, and if you tap into the power that you get from the rot while you're in your powered up state, you can just berserk your way through all that stuff. Even with like a bow and arrow, you can enable your power up and nail somebody in the head with an arrow, and it'll just split their helmet in two.
That's sweet.
That they use something. I don't remember what the exact term was for it, but it was something like active dismemberment technology or something like that. And it's very much something in the vein. It was like what Servios had promised us with their
Yeah.
Walking Dead game, where you were going to be able to take limbs and stuff. And it's very much like that. If you shoot something in the foot, you'll do damage to its foot. You can hack their arms off. You can split them down the middle both ways. So like even if you're facing them or from the side, you'll cut right through them. And again, just small details that kind of all add up to a very immersive experience.
I imagine they learned a couple things from Saints and Sinners too, because that introduced the dynamic slicing with the chainsaw, and yeah, that was like mind blowing. Where like I would saw like a zombie or a walker in like a diagonal direction, and like their legs would get cut off like at that angle that I cut them off, and it's like wow, that's like really impressive.
And you can scar them too. Like if you just barely catch them with the tip of your sword across their face, it'll just make a mark right there on their face. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
To wrap up the state of play discussion, obviously Astro Bot got announced at the end. No PSVR2 support. I mean, I think no, I don't think anyone in the community is jumping up and down angry because we didn't get support for one game in particular. I think it's the game that people are mad about, right? People are mad that it's because it's an Astro game, because he was such a big VR mascot for so many years, and he was one of our favorite games of last gen. Like it's like heartbreaking, right? It's tough pill to swallow, right, Wes?
It's the situation that we're in contributing to it. I feel like 9 months ago, the reaction might have been a little bit different. But today, I mean, PSVR has been under attack now for like 6 months, and people saying that the platform's dead, that there's not going to be any more games for it. And it feels like Sony would have heard this by now and know that the morale is very low in our community. And beyond that, people are still waiting for the hybrid games. That's the one thing that people were expecting, that other than Gran Turismo 7 and Resident Evil, we haven't really seen. And people know through basic logic that if first party Sony is going to put their money where their mouth is and do what they asked all the other devs to do, that this would be the game that supports it. This would be the game that would be the hybrid game. And the fact that it's not really just demoralizes everyone. It feels like a smack in the face, to be quite honest. And don't get me wrong, I fully understand that the support could still be coming. It could be that they just didn't want to taint their flat hype by putting that VR2 logo on there. And there is a lot of anti-VR sentiment out there in the flat masses. But I just wish for once that that they would prioritize our community a little bit more, and just let us know that it's coming. That they don't have to make a big deal about it. But just putting the logo on the end of the trailer would have been enough to keep people's hope alive, and it just doesn't seem like it matters to them at this point.
Yeah, I think the most disappointing thing to me was that I was like, well, you know what? This is a bigger Astro game. They're doing something, bigger with more freedom and blah blah blah. But nothing they've shown in this trailer tells me that it's anything more than a much bigger Astro Bot rescue mission with more levels and probably more bosses and more references. It very much looks like it follows the same formula from a level design standpoint. And that was the thing I was sort of saying before we saw the trailer, saying, well, you know what? Maybe this is just not going to work in VR the same way that Sony would want a rescue mission to work in VR. But based on everything they've shown us, it hurts more, right? It hurts more because this is like Rescue Mission 2, basically. So that's what I am mostly upset about.
Yeah, this part of the announcement definitely like it definitely got to me pretty bad at first. And I'll admit, like I am kind of over it now. Like it took me a couple days to get over it.
Yeah.
Because I was really, really pissed off and I was like, yeah, like this, you know, despite some of the good things you may have heard about Jim Ryan, it's like to me, this is the most Jim Ryan move here and is very telling about, you know, about what direction he was putting things. And here's the thing though. This game to me is a reboot of the IP. They're trying to establish it. To me, as like thinking from a business perspective, it makes sense to go in this direction of having it be a flat game. Like, yes, I've always like thought Astro Bot is like, you know, amazing and PlayStation always needs to, they need mascots like this. Like this is good for their brand, good for their identity. I grew up with like games like, you know, Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. And that's what made me fall in love with like, you know, playing on PlayStation was having these characters that, you know, you just really, really like. So like, I'm actually like, it's kind of bittersweet. Like I'm actually kind of like happy that like, yes, like finally more people will get to, you know, experience this. Cause I think Astro deserves that. The big problem here, though, obviously, like we've mentioned the whole time, is that there's no hybrid mode. There's no like, oh, if you want to play it in VR, you can play it with you know, with the move controllers in it, and it's redesigned this way. Like this game was clearly started development a couple years ago after the PS5 launched, and just the idea was just like, no, like it's just not gonna have any VR, any hybrid thing. Or any kind of like not even as so much as like a third person camera as the VR headset as a third person camera, which I think would have made us all really happy. But knowing PlayStation, to them they're like, no, like to them they're probably like, no, people probably don't want that. They probably want like they always got to like go big or do nothing at all, and then they like do nothing at all, right? It's like, guys, you could have just literally put a fucking third person camera with the VR headset and like we would have been fucking happy. We'd have been like, it's so excited. Because 3D platformers work with this mechanic. It's not the same as like Resident Evil, like playing a Resident Evil game in third person or whatever. When it comes to Astro Bot, like, yeah, the little VR mechanics were cool and all. But that game wasn't really about like the immersion for me, if that makes sense. Just like, at least from like I wasn't like, oh, like I'm feeling one-to-one immersed with this game. It's like, no, like it's just a really enjoyable game in VR, and those kinds of things work. And so, yeah, it's really disappointing, and it definitely, like, to me, this was like Sony's, if Sony was going to have like a first party game like ready, like it was going to be this. And now I'm just like, yeah, like this is problematic for the platform. Obviously they're doing some other things, but this is exactly the kind of problems that we've been running into since launch. And it, like you said, it takes a lot of wind out of the sails.
But it's not that. Yeah, it takes a lot of the wind out of the sails, and it's not like Sony didn't expect this response from us.
Yeah,
that's the even bigger issue. Is that I was thinking like the entire time watching this, going, if it's flat screen, they've got to give a little nod to VR gamers at the end of it, right? Typical Sloth in the chat is saying, is it not possible that there's just 2 games in development? Like instead of either or, there's an Astro Bot and an Astro Bot Rescue Mission 2. I had floated this idea at one point saying, I think there's probably a VR specific game in the works. But man, what a great time to tell people would have been at the end of this trailer when PSVR gamers were up in arms being like, wait, what about us? They could have 2 seconds, right? Like the same way that Wanderer announced a Wanderer sequel at the end of their Fragments of Fate trailer. Sony could have said, hey, PSVR2 gamers, we didn't forget about you. Like, they're like, stay tuned for more news. Even if they don't announce a new game, stay tuned for more news. Like, that's all they needed to do. Put text on a fucking screen, and everybody would have been like, okay, they didn't forget about us. Everything's okay, right? But they didn't even do that, and that's painful.
Well, they know that the backlash, they would be able to just take it and just brush it off. Basically, and that's the kind of insulting part. Is like, if this was a VR only game, nobody's asking for it to be a VR only game. Like, I totally understand that would get tons and tons of backlash, especially after the PS5 Playroom. This launch is a free game. Astro's Playroom launches a pack-in title with 59 million, PSVR. I'm sorry, with 59 million Astro's Playrooms. Pissing off 59 million people is a lot more than pissing off like 1 or 2 million at most. Right. Absolutely. Or a maximum of 5 million people. So regardless of how big the backlash is, it wouldn't be, they can definitely afford to do that versus vice versa. But yeah, it is an insult. It is a slap in the face to all of us that, have been like, we purchased a $550 headset. We expect, a little bit more like support. Like, nobody's denying that the support could be a little bit better. That this is just it's a rough place to be in, and it's gonna definitely have an impact on the growth or the sales of PSVR2. But as Wes alluded to earlier, again, I think that this is like a reboot of Astro Bot. They're starting from scratch. It's always been kind of tech demos from the Playroom, Astro's Playroom, to before that Playroom VR. It was always just kind of like a little robot that was used as just to show off new hardware. But this could be like the start of, this is the start of the IP. So should they, for some reason, hopefully there's enough fan backlash to make them reconsider, or people are vocal enough to make them reconsider, and they knowingly really create a VR mode, knowing that, the PSVR2 fan base is smaller. But hey, let's do this because it's still it's a cool technological thing to do. They still care a lot about innovating with technology and things like that. And this is the Astrobot's one of the best things you could use that for. So hopefully they either just tack on a VR mode or have a spin-off or something. The even more frustrating part is really just the fact that we didn't get any Astrobot Rescue Mission remake redesigned for PSVR2. This is the kind of stuff that people keep bringing up when they talk about Sony's not supporting it. This is the stuff that gets extremely frustrating. That it's no Wipeout, no Blood and Truth. London Studios closed now, so we're probably not going to get that. No Ocean's Descent remaster or PSVR Worlds. These are the problems that got us here in the first place, and we wanted to see them start to kind of maybe make moves to kind of dig themselves out of it. And while they have made a move that I think is going to help somewhat, this is the kind of stuff that is why we are where we are today, is stuff like this. And but I'll be honest with you, it's hard to cry when I'm sitting there playing Gran Turismo 7 with a PSVR 2 and a racing wheel and a haptic vest. I wasn't suddenly a lot of my sadness was gone in that very moment. So there's still things I'm really optimistic about, really excited about, and can't wait to share. And and there's other things to look forward to. It's just not obviously what we had hoped for.
It's bad luck.
It's bad juju.
Was that your summary of the last 12 minutes of conversation? It's a bad look.
Indeed.
Wes, there was actually something you had said that really kind of warmed my soul a little bit when it came to all of this, about just the whole community coming together. It can be so divisive sometimes, and so cutthroat for no reason. But they really did come together after this announcement to send a message to Sony.
Yeah. It's the PSVR2 community, we've all been kind of biting our tongues for a while now, because up until now, we've all had complete faith in Sony. Even when all the naysayers have come out and started accusing Sony of abandoning the platform and calling it the next Vita, none of us believe that. We've always just been, biding our time, saying, wait and see. The games are coming. Just wait and see. But now this was the first real thing, I feel like, that cut everybody to the bone and said, you know what, maybe it's not going to be all right. And now people are speaking up. They're not just ready to wait and see anymore. And this has unified the whole community. And you're right. It was everywhere. It was on the PlayStation blog. It was on the YouTube channel. It was on on Twitter. And we're talking about posts of a very popular, highly anticipated flat game, and we're dominating the comments on it. The VR community
Yeah.
is dominating the comments on all of this stuff,
Yeah.
and that I have never seen since PS.
I'm so
that
proud
PS
of everyone.
blog, dude. Yeah, no, really proud of everybody, and keep it going too. Like, you know, you don't have to be vicious about it. You don't have to be like an asshole about it. We're better than that. You know, we're smaller, but we've also got like the PSVR community in general. One thing I love about it, it's always been smaller, but it's been like one of the most amazing communities to be a part of. Probably because it's smaller like that. Like I look at just all the discourse online, and I'm just like, good God, like everywhere, gaming culture, everything needs like it needs to be flushed down the toilet and like restarted, because everywhere is just full of these like toxic people, fanboy wars, like just pieces of shit just left and right. And I've always been really proud of us for you know, just kind of being like real down to earth people that just are gamers and enjoy the technology, enjoy the games, enjoy the things that we're given, and don't take them for granted as much as other communities. So, but that being said, I still 100% recommend, like, yeah, that PS blog post, dude, like it's got like 500, like more than 500 comments of people. And these are people with, you know, that little plus symbol next to their gamer tags. You know, these aren't just random people online. These are PSN accounts that are commenting all of these. So it's really awesome to see a lot of these people, you know, coming out and showing support for the platform, because yeah, man, this thing's awesome, man. And it'd be a shame for it not to ever get to reach its like full potential.
Mr. Bean, the Underground Gamecat with the $5 tip, says, just saying hello. Wes's Behemoth preview got me hyped. Got me hyped too. And Wes, thank you so much for going to Skydance and representing not just Virtual Strangers, but also Without Parole. I don't like to leave my apartment, and like I'm so thankful that you're just fucking professional all the time, man. So thank you for everything you do for us.
Well, thank you for referring me. I had a blast while I was there. I did not enjoy spending days at the airport because my 2-day trip became a 4-day trip. But the time that I was in San Diego and Los Angeles was just awesome. I got stranded in Denver on my way home, which meant I got to meet Roots for the first time.
Oh, wow.
In person. Yeah. So it was a great trip. So
wow, Virtual Strangers meetup. I feel like I missed out on something big.
Yeah, it wasn't much, man. Like I was beat down, tired, and when I got to my hotel finally at like 11 o'clock at night, Roots was waiting for me, and D was waiting for me as well.
That's awesome.
Sweet.
I
heard he's this tall.
Feeling.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not as short as what some people say, but no, I was a little bit taller than him.
I didn't. I was just joking. I have no idea how tall Roots is.
Well, I didn't see what you said. I just heard this tall, and I already knew what you're talking about.
Right about here. Let's see. Waleed is now Gamecat, specifically White Tiger, with the level 1 membership, says, see my tweet for $80 PSVR2. It's legit and crazy. Did Waleed get hacked? Is this now a scam account? Or spam account? $80 PSVR2. It's amazing.
I did see the tweet, Waleed, and you know, that's cool and all, but it's like it involves like signing up for like credit cards and
is
like,
this subtracting the total of Netflix from the PSVR2 headset? Is that like what?
I don't know if it includes that. It's about like signing up for a lot of stuff and bundled in with it, and I'm just like, yeah. You know, that's if you're that desperate for a PSVR2, sure, like and you only have $80, like
everybody go follow Hasid Mirza for an $80 PSVR2. Just do it.
Hopefully you got good credit. But yeah, I mean it's cool, but that's like that's a lot of hoops to jump through.
Yeah. Sounds like work. Wally does now Gamecat, specifically White Tiger, with the Canadian $5 tip, says, I'm digging the new weekly format. We had Astro Shock and PCVR negative discourse, and by Wednesday's Gamescast, things calmed down for a level-headed discussion. Yeah, well, I wasn't totally sure if we were all going to be level-headed by today, but it turns out we are. So that's
I
good-
definitely needed that time in between because I was fucking livid. Like, like
You and I
around
got-
the time.
you,
Yeah,
you and I got into voice chat on Discord, and I was like, I think I might need to give AJ the week off.
I was ready to go all scorched earth, just like the rest of you. But yeah, man, just a little time to breathe and
Yep.
you just think about things. And I definitely did some deep thinking about a lot of things. And but yeah, man, like I said, at the end of the day, like life's too short, man. You got to just enjoy it and appreciate every fucking second you have on this earth because it could be much worse. There could be much worse problems to have.
Also, are there birds over there?
You can hear my birds.
When I can hear your birds when you talk, which means the noise reduction,
The noise
suppression is, but except for when you're talking, and then I hear like the birds are like cheering you on. They're like, yes.
There's a bird that's like perched out my window that won't shut the fuck up. I don't know.
Oh
That
man,
bird really wanted Astro Bot to come to PlayStation VR2.
it's like you tell him, AJ.
I will say, I did go in. I got my PSVR1 lenses and I jumped into Astro Bot on my PS4 Pro, and yeah, man, still holds up. Still so good. A little bit of slightly lower resolution, but goddamn, what a game that is. So good.
So we're used to the new resolutions of new games, and now Astro not quite as sharp as we remember it. Is what you're saying?
The lenses helped a lot though. Like, because without the lenses, it was like, oh my God, it was like getting a scoops of Vaseline and sticking it directly into my eyes. But yeah, man, no, like I said, like I am happy for Astro. Like I do think it's a really good, I miss mascots. I grew up with stuff like this. That means a lot to me. So I am happy for the little guy, even though if he is a little backstabbing son of a bitch, but I think hopefully, hopefully people react well to this because I feel like we need, in a time where everything's being dominated by Call of Duties and what are these games called? The battle royales. It's like, no, like fuck you. Like these kinds of games should, still have a place on the big boy table too.
Yeah. No, Astro Bot is representative of a bygone time in the PlayStation era where things were super charming and creative and cutesy and and not everything had to be this 100 million
microtransaction
or $100 million AAA like if the game doesn't succeed then the studio closes, although if this doesn't succeed, maybe Asobi will shut down. Who knows? Jeremy, the NES rookie with the $5 New Zealand says, unsure if this has been covered yet, but if Astro gets a PC port, it could be a great showcase for UEVR Injector. Might be the only way to play it in VR. Man, talk about a traitorous statement.
Oh man,
yeah.
no,
Wes and I are sitting here licking our chops, like yes, like now I'm gonna be waiting for that Astro port 2 years down the line. Now I'm gonna become one of those people like bring Astro to PC, 2 years later, and they will do it. And Wes, somebody's gonna probably one of your people will make it happen.
100%. And you know what? This whole attitude that PC is a separate thing than PlayStation is going to start fading away very shortly because PlayStation is a platform now. It's not just a product. And that platform is very much supported on PC. And if we do one day play Astro Bot on PC, I'm sure we'll have to sign up for the Sony network, which we all already have, to be able to download it and play it. So
and I'll be playing it on my fucking PSVR2, baby. Woo!
There you go. There you go. That's absolutely true.
I'm sorry, I'm swearing a lot.
The Gamecat Andrew Ehrenreich with the $5 tip says PSVR2's dead. All we're getting is Behemoth, Arcanage, Wanderer, Aliens. Anyway, did you see the Hitman 64 trailer? Quest 3 owners are getting spoiled.
Hitman 64,
bro. Did you see the trailer for Hitman 64?
Oh
dude,
man,
it is. Listen, it was all like I was like, oh my god, like the Quest is getting an exclusive version of like Hitman 3 with 2 hands and the whole thing. I was like, oh my god, I mean that's amazing. And I'm watching the CGI trailer. CGI. It's like, when the fuck? It's like 2/3 of the way through. When are they going to show gameplay? And then for like a split second, they show gameplay when these doors open up and you see like the most embarrassing environment and character models I've ever seen in my goddamn life. And I just I'm not trying to shit on Quest, right? Because I do think Quest 3 has like a ton of great games and quite a few good exclusives. But this trailer specifically, dude, I laughed out loud when the doors opened up and it was like, after all that CGI, boom, and I was like, oh my god, this is so fucking bad. Like, I'm sure by the time it comes out, it's gonna, they'll polish it up and make it look great. But holy crap, what a bad reveal that was.
Oof. Yeah,
I didn't watch it. I haven't watched it yet. I just heard about it.
Because you didn't think we'd be talking about it on the show tonight. That wasn't on the run of show. We're not gonna talk about Quest tonight.
But I think it's cool that instead of trying to do it themselves this time, that they have put a VR studio on porting it or rebuilding it from the ground up. It's
Who's
not even
doing
a port.
it?
It's a XR Games.
XR Games.
Oh, really?
Same people doing Zombie Army VR.
Very
Yeah,
interesting.
I was like, oh no, like, and then I saw it's like cell shaded. I'm like, cell shaded? It's like, dude, I'm sorry. Like,
it'll be interesting, man.
I'm sure it'll have great mechanics, but I'd rather just play like the PS4 version again with the DualShock. Like,
yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch all of these YouTuber guys who shat on the PC version of Hitman 3, which is just like the PlayStation 4 version, only you do get to use both hands. You don't dual wield, but your left hand does like auto grab things instead of just dangling in the wind. Like, it had some upgraded visuals on it. And it was a good game. It certainly could have been better in terms of the interface and the controls, but it was an improvement over the PlayStation version. And these guys that praised it on PlayStation crapped on it on PC, and now they're going to get a version on Quest that doesn't have Hitman 1 and Hitman 2 and all that DLC included with it. None of that's going to work on it. It's going to be cel-shaded graphics, so it's going to look like a comic book. And I guarantee you these guys are all going to praise it. And I'm sure it'll be a good game. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's going to be bad. I'm saying I do not expect it to be better than the PlayStation or the PC version, even if you can use your left hand fully. Like, yeah.
Dude, those games look so good on PS4 Pro, on PSVR 1. Like, the fact that we got the whole trilogy in VR, like, they look so good. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The fact this is only coming to Quest 3. Quest 3, I mean, everything I've seen on Quest 3 like is constantly surprising me about what it's capable of. And so it's capable of way more than this. So I hope they put a little more love into the graphics and the environment to make it a great experience, because right now it doesn't look like it. But you know what? It's 2 seconds of a trailer. So that's not very much to be judging something on. Listen, the Astro Bot debacle was not ignored by third-party developers making their own games. In fact, at least one capitalized on it right over here on Twitter. The team over at Toast Interactive tweeted, "We're stoked to see Astro Bot return on PlayStation 5. Rescue Mission was a key inspiration behind us creating Max Mustard. If you're eager for more creative VR platforming, we're excited to have Max Mustard launching on PSVR2 soon." Listen, you can't blame them, right? Like, how?
I mean, that's good marketing right there.
What a great opportunity!
That is seizing the moment. That is definitely taking advantage of the opportunity there. That is a good idea.
Right.
100%.
And it's not only that. The team at Toast Interactive, 100%. I mean, I'm sure they're licking their chops at the marketing opportunity that they have in front of you. But the designers of this game are fans of Astro Bot. Astro Bot's one of their top inspirations for the Max Mustard game, and you'll realize that very shortly after playing it. So I'm sure that they, on some level, were bothered by the news just as much as we were. But then it didn't take long for the wheels to start turning, I'm sure, and say, hey, let's take to Twitter, let's capitalize on this. before Sony shows up at Summer Games Fest and reveals VR support for everyone.
Yeah. Listen, I gotta say, I was not confident that the team behind, and nothing against Richie's Plank Experience, but the team behind Richie's Plank Experience, which was not, could be considered a game by any stretch of the imagination, especially when it launched. They've added more shit since. But like, I was not confident that these guys were the ones to be like, oh, we're going to deliver a full-fledged 3D, third-person platformer with first-person elements, blah, blah, blah. I was just like, yeah, okay, we'll see how it goes. And then I played it today. And like, dude, I didn't get very far in it. I only played the first couple levels. I only got to the first shop. And like, I got to say, like, this delivered exactly what I was hoping it would deliver. Like, I had a smile on my face the whole time. Like, dude, okay, listen, I just want to dive so fucking deep into it, like, right away. But AJ, you also played it for the first time today, right?
Yes.
Did you have a similar?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Hold me, Wes.
On this game already. You were saying that it was everything that you had hoped it would be.
Yeah, everything I hoped it would be. Like, I had a smile on my face the entire time. Listen,
okay? No, you're good. But it definitely froze for a second as soon as you started talking.
All right. I mean, there's definitely a connection problem here, but I think I really do think that it's. I don't think these guys. I don't think anybody watching is missing anything. Please let me know. Please let me know in the chat. Oh no, okay. So yeah, no. Even though everything looked fine to me, it doesn't look like everything was fine on YouTube. Very weird.
So let's start from the. You want to just start from the beginning?
I mean, I don't know what the beginning was.
I think we should start over because I don't think we got very far.
Okay, listen, I was saying that I didn't think that Toast Interactive was the company that I was going to be like, looking at to create a great 3D platformer in VR. Like, I didn't think that was going to be. I was very skeptical that this was going to be a great experience, and then I played it on Quest 3 today, and I was just like, from the get-go, smiling from ear to ear. I was like, this is everything I want it to be, right? To even to the extent that, like, even to the extent of it being like, oh man, I feel like I'm very limited from a moveset standpoint, right? I was running around and I was like, oh, I feel like I should have a spin attack or some kind of like, or some punch or something, right? I'm just jumping on things or hitting things with my hand or my head or whatever, right? I automatically had the Astro Bot hover thing right from the get-go, and I was like, oh, but it's okay. I started, they gave me a gun to shoot in first person, and I was like, okay, there's enough stuff going on here where I feel like I've got enough. And then after the first level, a shop opens up, and those coins that you're collecting are actually useful. And one of the first things I bought was a spin attack, right? And I was like, oh man, this is actually delivering everything I want. And I am hooked. I'm absolutely hooked. It's going to take everything in my power to not continue playing this on Quest 3 and wait for the PSVR2 version.
So let me just tell you that this is great that you're saying this. And by the way, I totally agree. I love the fact that collecting the coins means something in this game. There is actually quite a lot of progression to your character and your abilities that comes through the act of collecting all the coins. And then in between levels, you go and you spend those coins to buy new features and maneuvers. And you literally, it has progression in there that's atypical for a platformer. But if you're digging it like this now, so there's 3 overworlds, right?
Okay.
There's 40 levels spanning 3 overworlds. And pretty much the majority of the first overworld, the first biome, is like entry level stuff. Like there's some decent variety in there. They do throw in a few gimmicks as you make your way through to kind of keep things fresh. But it's really when you get to the second world, when the thing really opens up, it becomes challenging from a platforming standpoint, and you really see the richness and depth that the game has as a platformer. Yeah, it's one of the best in VR. Like, obviously, Astro Bot being a big budget Sony exclusive is going to be able to do things that that these smaller indie teams can't. But for a team the size of the Toast Interactive to put together such a comprehensive and complete uh, platforming game for VR is just awesome. And PSVR2 gamers have something really cool to look forward to soon, very soon.
Should I
Go for it.
bring down the party a little bit?
Oh yeah, sure. How much did you get to play today? Because AJ, you were the same boat as me, right? You didn't play till today.
Yeah, I played. I didn't get to play until like maybe an hour before the show. Shout out Wes for helping me get to play a little bit. I only played like maybe the first 3-4 levels. And I'm playing on a Quest 2. And what I will say first and foremost is that the thing that it 100% I think nails right away, that the inspiration from like Astro Bot and good platformers, first and foremost, like instantly likable. The gameplay itself is really good right away. The way that it feels, the way that it kind of uses that the 3D depth to kind of like, get to different areas. There's good use of verticality and, like all sorts of different things. I hate when platformers are like so simple and generic and they start off too easy and everything. I like how from the get-go, it's like, it's like this is already like normal level difficulty, which was nice, not too simple or whatever. Gameplay wise, I was actually pretty I was liking it. The like you said, you've got like the little jetpack like Astro Bot, and then there's you're jumping on enemies, you're having to like collect all there's like collectibles and stuff, there's stuff to bounce off of. I like that there was like a wall jump or something, like you cling onto the wall and you can kind of jump off of it. I like that. Mechanically, I was actually really liking this so far. And then I think the when I was like, oh, okay, like this is like, how are they going to mix things up? How's this going to evolve? Obviously, especially with what Wes said, I know that like there is a lot that I have to see, because I have just scratched the surface on this. I have literally played 30-45 minutes at most. So I didn't, but I'm glad that I at least got to like get at least a first impression kind of. It was interesting too, playing on the Quest 2. Like I'm so used to those games, Quest 2 games, being like extremely sharp, but then just like lifeless. Like no shadows, no, not even baked in like lighting most of the time. It looks like Quest 2, like oftentimes for me, and one of the reasons I like playing on PSVR 2 is like a lot of the times the games will look like the lowest graphical settings possible just to make something run. It's like you're running it on a laptop or something. And then like, you strip out all the lighting, all the shadows, everything. It was interesting to me. This game was actually like slightly lower resolution than I was expecting. It wasn't blurry or anything, but like slightly lower resolution than I was expecting. But in itself, it actually looked like better than like it looked a little bit more like, I was like, wow, like there's actually some like colorfulness here and things. There's a lot going on that I was actually pretty impressed with.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there before you carry on, because I'm playing on a Quest 3, and frame rate definitely chugged here and there that I don't expect it to on PSVR 2. Tiny hitches, nothing crazy. I expect this to be definitely running at 90 native at minimum. And so hopefully it'll be nice and smooth, even a smoother experience. One of the things that I noticed on the Quest 3 was that the colors just didn't pop, right? These are very colorful worlds, and it's like, these are bright green areas, and I'm just like, and I'm so used to playing on PSVR 2 that I'm like, man, this is going to look, I could tell, in my head, I could picture the brightness in the contrast and everything that's going to show a little bit more when I finally see this running on a PSVR 2 at like 90 or 120 native. So I'm excited for that, because it already looks good, I think. But I know I can picture how it's going to look when we finally get it.
Yeah, also the
Yeah.
rumble. Even the rumble was pretty good in the Quest controllers, and that's not something that most developers get right. Like most Quest games I play, like they just have like your simplest, most basic rumble. So, assuming that they're taking full advantage of the PSVR or PS5 hardware and PSVR2 features, yeah, like this could be very vibrant, very colorful. Also, nice little soundtrack. I thought the music was actually pretty good too. But yeah, like good balance and variety. I think the kind of surprising part for me was like I get to like the second, or I had to skip the shop. I didn't get a chance to see, so thank you for explaining what was in the shop. But right after the shop, I was happy to see like there was like a little challenge level where, kind of like how in Astro Bot you'd get these pickups, right? That was part of the thing that made the game, made for VR. It kind of differentiated itself that way. And I liked how, you're going through the level and you get like a gun and now you're controlling, whatever, or it becomes like a shooting section with like a plunger gun or whatever. And then that the level itself was like some challenge, like you're shooting target. It's like kind of like target practice or whatever, or like it was like a time trial, and you have to get all the targets in a certain time. I like that it mixes things up like that. It's not just like, oh, like it wasn't just like pure platformer. It's like, no, this is where the fun creative side of these things come into play. So I'm really, really excited to explore more with this game and see what it has to offer. I think it's got me 100% sold from a gameplay perspective. 100% sold. That seems like they've done a really good job here. What I was gonna say is why I said what I was alluding to.
I was like, you're saying a lot of good things for bringing the mood down.
Because I do have, I wanted to make that, loud and clear that like I've definitely like gameplay, is really important. And the one thing I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot here a little bit with is maybe the character itself. When you think about like what makes great, like some platformers that like transcend generations and stuff. You think about Crash Bandicoots, Spyros, and even like Astro Bot and Quill. Like Quill's like one of the most like amazingly like imaginative and deep characters. The character itself, Max Mustard, I think from at least from like a marketing standpoint or stuff, I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot here a little bit. It to me, it almost seems like an inside joke or something that like maybe means a lot to the devs, but to like consumers, like if you're trying to market this, calling it Max Mustard and having a character that really to me is a little bit on the generic side. I think part of the charm of platformers and the selling point is like you have a cool character that's very marketable and very like something about it. For me, I usually like cool or cute little animals or something like that. Like even like Ven was like I was kind of sold, even though it was kind of knockoff Crash Bandicoot. Like I was like, I still like the look of this character. It seems cool. Unfortunately, the game didn't deliver with Ven VR. But I think for me, just critiquing the game from my first impressions and kind of like what has held me back from being like super excited about this game is really just the character and the title itself. Like it almost, I don't know the story behind this character or where it comes from or whatever, but I would have liked something a little bit more creative. It's not like the Mixture game. This isn't that the Mixture. I went off. I couldn't even focus on the game of Mixture because of how fucking ugly and disturbing that main character is.
The whole game was ugly and disturbing. Even the movement felt bad. The camera felt bad. Yeah, I feel you.
I know that bad.
I know what you're saying. Listen,
this is not that bad. Where it's like this horrendous character design, because that would really piss me off. Yeah. But this does still kind of feel like a like one of the rejects, like the platformer rejects characters, which I know, I'm sorry, but I'm just being honest, like
Listen,
again, the gameplay,
if that's your biggest complaint, then I am so happy to hear that, because like
that is my biggest complaint so far.
Because I mean, and I think you may be preaching to the choir. I don't know if Wes agrees or not, but like I definitely I feel you. Like, Jack and Dexter, where I think iconic during the PS2 era, along with Ratchet and Clank, along with Sly Cooper, along with all these characters that were just iconic and instantly recognizable. And the same goes for Crash Bandicoot. I'll even venture out and say Croc, right, which is just a Yoshi ripoff, right? You know what I mean? Like, and so I totally hear you, man. But like, I haven't given Max Mustard enough time to see if I'm going to connect with this character or not. I don't even know how much. Wes, maybe you can clue us in. I've actually got two questions. This one being the first. Is there like a story here? Do we hear Max Mustard talk like more than like? Are we going to have reasons to connect with this character and maybe make AJ a happier boy?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it story driven, but there's definitely a backstory that unfolds, and it does add a little bit of complexity to the character. So it is Max Mustard and not Max Mayonnaise, for example. But I agree. Like if this is the biggest complaint that you have, AJ, then we're doing well here.
This is definitely and like the thing is, like I said, I grew up playing platformers. What made me start playing video games to begin with was like walking by in the store and seeing Mega Man on a box and being like, holy shit, what is this? Like literally, that's how my gaming journey started when I was like super little. So like they've always been super important. And I like having that emotional connection to like characters like these. Like I was saying, mascots are super important, and it's been baffling to me how many VR developers like screw this part up. Like they make a game or whatever, like Mixture or something where it's just like, ugh, like I don't like, no, like go back in the garbage can where you belong. Like I said, this has definitely been like my only gripe so far, and it's not even a big one because it's not distracting, right? I may not have that emotional connection to Max Mustard, but at least it's not like distracting me, and I'm just like, God, like ugh. It's got a little bit of that Marvel's thing going on for it, but more Marvels were like, they were like, they like made me shudder, and like I was like, God, I hate these things so much.
Oh my God,
like, I just want them all to die. No, the Max Mustard's not that bad, but I just don't think it stands out.
I think we all understand your perspective on the character of Max Mustard now, AJ. Thank you so much. Get off the fucking podium.
Thank you for letting me get all that out.
Right.
Wes, the other question I have for you, real quick, we don't need to stay on this topic much longer, but I obviously love all the first-person aspects and gameplay mechanics that can be thrown at us while we're playing a third-person platformer in VR. So when they gave me the plunger gun, like pretty quickly, I was like, oh, this is so good. This is exactly what I wanted. There's shit for me to do and Max to do. My hope, however, is that we're getting more than just a plunger gun. We get to do more shit in first person.
Yeah, now it's not in every level, but it definitely takes similar inspiration from Astro Bot, where you are given cool gadgets from time to time and cool new mechanics to play with from a first-person perspective. So yes, 100%, absolutely.
Excellent, cool.
Now I would before we move on, like to kind of talk a little bit on this and kind of answer some of the things that you guys were talking about.
Please do.
First of all, with the muted colors on Quest 3, that is 100% the headset. I experience this all the time when I play a lot of PSVR2 or even PC, and then I move over to my Quest 3. I feel like the brightness is turned down, and I check it all the time, and it's always turned all the way up. So that is 100% the headset. In terms of visuals, AJ, it does look sharper on the Quest 3 than it does on the on the Quest 2, and I can say definitively that the version that we're getting on PSVR 2 is not a straight port. It is going to be a version that's optimized for PSVR 2 with visual upgrades, using some of the other features. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say and how much I'm not allowed to say, but we are getting a PSVR 2 version of Max Mustard.
That's gonna be big
That's
because
gonna be awesome.
this was really well optimized, even on a Quest 2. Like this,
Yeah.
this was feeling things like I was feeling ways that most Quest 2 games don't like feel. Like this felt really good for a Quest 2 game. So yeah, there's some nice like environments, there's a lot going on. Yeah, I'm excited to definitely play this on PSVR 2 100%.
I would encourage you guys to keep playing it a little bit. At least play through the first boss fight, because much like Astro Bot and other platformers, this game does have, I think, 4 bosses in it, and super fun. And game, the gameplay is quite a bit different when you get into the boss fights. So that's really cool.
I bet that's gonna be
Just to answer some questions that I've seen in the chat, there is no release date as of right now. But Toast Interactive has stated earlier in the year that this game is slated for PSVR2 launch mid 2024. And we're in June, so that would tell us that it's not that far off. You can wishlist it now. Everyone go and do that. And the game costs $29.99 on the Quest store. I don't know what the PlayStation price is going to be, but I would imagine it'd be pretty close to that. Now,
have we had a single good third-person platformer on PSVR2 yet?
On 2, but Vin's on 2, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't think Ven was very good.
Yeah, he said good. I thought
I like Ven. It's challenging,
and
that was kind of
10 minutes.
There's some things that Ven does that Max doesn't that I prefer, and then there's a lot of things that Max does that Ven doesn't that I prefer. One thing specifically, and if I had to be critical of Max Mustard, I really only have one major criticism of it. And I'm no, not the mascot.
I'm just kidding.
So I'm an old school platformer. I like these games to be very difficult, and it is challenging. It's very challenging from a platforming perspective. There are parts of this game where they put enemies and obstacles and projectiles, and you really got to time it out and jump through it. But I'm an old school guy. I like for every now and then for it to be really, really difficult and get frustrated and want to throw my controllers.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because when you finally get enough practice in and get it down and make your way to the other side, it's so much more gratifying that way. And
100%.
while this game is very difficult from time to time, my one big beef with it is there's no game over. You can just die and die and die forever, and you'll always come back to the most recent checkpoint. And I think that they should put some number of lives on it, be it 20 or 30 or even 40. At some point, I feel like you should nope out or have the game nope you out rather, and have to start back at the beginning of the level. And whether they wanted to implement that in like a hard mode or whatever, I think that would be fine. But if I could change one thing about it, that would be it. I would make it so that people had to mind how many times they die.
Yeah, I always thought it was fun. Like in Mario games where like, you'd go where, you'd be like, oh, you waste like 20 lives on a certain level. And then after you beat that level, you go back to like, the first or second level, and like you find a place where you can kind of grind, kind of keep running through the level to max out your, no pun intended, max out your lives. And so I would love for that to be included in a future update.
Absolutely. That's it. It's a great game. Everyone should be excited for it. Everyone should go wishlist it. It will be launching soon unless something has happened in the last 2 months that has set back development. We should be getting this one very soon.
Let's check in on the cats. We got Firebird Old School with the 100 Sekiros. Just saying, cheers. Cheers to you, Firebird Old School. I feel like I haven't seen your name recently. Hope you're doing well. Grandpa's Barbecue or Gamecat with the Australian $5 tip says, morning all. Where the fuck are you? Morning? I don't know. Listen, Australia sounds right. Morning all. Is the PCVR adapter Sony beginning? Wow, what, bro? Is it? Why are you so drunk this early in the morning? Morning all. Is the PCVR adapter Sony beginning? Right, indicative of Sony beginning to abandon the PSVR2 headset. Of course it is. They've been abandoning it since day one. There hasn't been any games. There's been no first-party support. Third parties dropped off 2 years ago before the thing even launched. It's the worst headset on the face of the planet. And Sony giving us more functionality is certainly an indication that they just don't give a fuck /S.
There you go.
Okay.
No, I think the prudent answer here is we really don't know. Only time will tell. Certainly that could mean that, but it could also mean that Sony was listening when the headset launched, and all of us said, you know what would be great? It would be great if we could plug this thing into our PC. Right. And they said, you know what? I think we can make that happen.
I think because of Grandpa's Barbecue or Gamecat tip, maybe this is a great segue to talk about the news that we got this week about PC support for our beloved PSVR2s. I think everybody owes me a fucking pizza because guess where this news broke? That's right. The blog. I think we all knew that was going to be a thing. All right. Speaking of it, let's get over to the PlayStation blog and go through all of that noise. Man, oh man, these links are everywhere.
Shout out Richie, by the way, for coming off of his plank and gifting a butt ton of memberships to the chat, by the way.
Oh, I totally missed that. Thank you so much, Richie.
Awesome.
Oh, nice.
All right, here we go. This is over on the PlayStation blog. Also, I love that I'm running everything in dark mode. I don't know what I've been doing for all these years, but what a break on my eyes all this is. June 3rd, PlayStation VR2 players can access games on PC with adapter starting on August 7th. Here, let's just make this bigger so I can actually read it. When PlayStation VR2 launched last year, we were thrilled to announce PlayStation 5 players a new generation of VR games with innovative gameplay, immersive sensory features. Inspired by our passion to bring gamers even more content options, we've been working to enable access to additional games on PC, complementing the diverse PSVR2 games lineup available on PlayStation 5. Today, we're happy to share that we'll be rolling out support on August 7th. June, July, August, so 2 months from now. Players will have access to buy and play Steam's expansive library of thousands of VR games, including fan favorites like Half-Life Alyx, Fallout 4 VR, and War Thunder. To start, players will need to purchase PlayStation VR2 PC adapter, which will be available for an estimated $60 at select retailers and direct.playstation.com where available. Players will also need a commercially available DisplayPort cable sold separately that is compatible with DisplayPort 1.4, as well as a Steam account, and a PC that meets the minimum requirements below. These are the requirements, copy and paste. Setup is easy. Scrolling. Feature differences. Here's what we're looking for. Feature differences with PSVR2 on PlayStation 5. PSVR2 was designed from the ground up specifically for PlayStation 5, so you'll notice that some key features like HDR, headset feedback, eye tracking, adaptive triggers, and haptic feedback, other than rumble, are not available when playing on PC. However, other high fidelity and sensory immersion features of PSVR2 are supported, including 4K visuals, 110-degree field of view, finger touch detection, and see-through view. Pass-through, as well as foveated rendering without eye tracking and 3D audio in supported games. Guys, there is so much to unpack here. Starting with the goddamn thumbnail that shows Half-Life Alyx on a screen with a PSVR2 headset. Is it this kind of feels like a fuck you, I'm not gonna lie, right? PSVR2 gamers, as much as they were like, yeah, like, oh, we would love PC support for our headset. The thing they really wanted was a PSVR2 specific version of Half-Life Alyx. And so the thumbnail alone seems like kind of a fuck you. Agree or disagree?
I mean, it might seem that way. I don't think it's intended that way. I think
not.
Obviously they've been working with Steam to make this happen as smoothly and quickly as possible. And I think this is the biggest indicator that they're very much partnered with Steam, which is cool, which is where you want to be if you're going to be bringing PC support. I thought it was equally cool that that one of the games that they mentioned specifically was Fallout 4 VR, which is a game that came out in 2016 and isn't exactly known for its great support over the years. But apparently they're saying that it's going to be playable on the PSVR2 on PC, which I'm still kind of skeptical about, but we'll find out.
AJ, initial response to this?
I don't think this is a big FU. I think it's just kind of understanding that, you know, I think that's the flagship PCVR title. Like, that is the one thing that everybody talks about, asks about, and everything. And yeah, I mean, look, this isn't the most ideal way to get PSVR or PC support. This is something that, like, you know, we would have liked at launch, or something where it's like, you know, hey, we've been listening to you, and here we go. Like, you asked for it, we're delivering. This doesn't feel like that. Obviously, this is more of like a, oh god, hit the red button. Like, this is more of like a, we got to do something. Like, we've got to make a move here, because right now we're getting our ass kicked. And yeah, if you look at the competition, I mean, there's the Quest is obviously dominating the VR market space, and they're trying to fight back a little bit. This is what we've always talked about. We like the Sony that gets their ass kicked and then pushes back. This is when consumers end up winning, because this is where, you know, they start making more consumer-friendly decisions in order to compete. And this is definitely a way of PlayStation competing with the Quest. And because, I mean, you have both, the PSVR 2 is having to go up against both. It's this unified other side of Quest standalone and PC, just completely laying into PSVR 2 constantly. Yeah, this is, but to me, overall, this is really, really good news, and a good plan B in case things end up don't working out. It's it's very comforting to me knowing that, well, you know, no matter what happens with PSVR 2 in the long run, which we know we have at least another year of awesome, really big games coming. We already have over 200 games. I'd say maybe around 50 to 70 of them are like really, really good. You know, 30 or 40 of them are like must plays. So we've got a great library, and this is just a good way of expanding the use and functionality and the life of PSVR 2, because it is a wonderful headset and it does deserve a lot more support. I think, if anything, the I don't know. I was going to say that the big fuck you would be Sony being like, no, give us more money with this adapter. But that's not really, obviously it needs it to work. So as a jumping off point for this conversation, Bryan, no, I don't think that's an FU. I think this is the most positive buzz we've had surrounding PSVR 2 since launch, or since prior to launch. So I think it's it's definitely been a very positive reaction to it overall so far.
Wes, this isn't made for me. Like, I've had a Quest 3 sitting here on my computer desk, mere inches away from my PC, and I've not even really done that. Like, I'm not a PC gamer. I don't want to be a PC gamer. I don't want to plug my PlayStation VR2 into my computer. So this news isn't for me. So what I'm curious about, especially since your community revolves around, not just PSVR2, but it also revolves around PC gaming and Quest gaming, all of that. What is the reaction from your community that has, obviously way more exposure to PC VR gaming than I do?
It's mixed. Obviously, there's a lot of disappointment because people were hopeful that the entire feature set would be brought over with it, and that would mean that we would have adaptive triggers and headset haptics, and most of all, eye track dynamic foveated rendering coming natively to Steam. But for the most part, people were pretty positive about it. Quest is a great PC VR headset when it works, but there's a lot of inconsistency and jank in the connection whether you're doing wireless or wired with your Quest 3, it's not 100%. Um, it's not 100% reliable the way that a regular PCVR headset that plugs into a display port is. And that's essentially what this adapter is going to do. It's going to make your PlayStation VR into a regular PCVR headset. But when I say regular, that's not exactly true either, because if you're talking about Oculus Rift S or more recently Valve Index, the PlayStation VR2 has a much higher resolution. It has a higher resolution than Quest 2. And it has equivalent resolution to the HP Reverb G2, which is the headset that I use. Only even that's not equivalent, because the PlayStation VR2 has an OLED display in it, which all of these other headsets have LCDs in them. So that's a big plus. With regard to the HDR thing, people are saying, why doesn't it support HDR? I honestly think that that's them covering themselves legally, because there's a definition that something has to meet to claim that it supports HDR. And obviously the screen in the thing still is capable of HDR, and they're not going to nerf and remove HDR capability from Steam. But the fact of the matter is that the Steam games haven't been optimized to operate at the brightness that the PlayStation games are. So claiming that it supports HDR on Steam could be something that could get them in a bit of a mess. So I think that was more, them protecting themselves than anything.
Yeah. And that's kind of how the way they worded those features too. They don't say, like, there's been a lot of like discussion around like the PSVR2 coming to PC, but then everyone, there's been some chatter or whatever saying like, oh, all the best features, they locked it out, or they're disabling it. I don't think that's the case here, because like, as we know, like, yes, the headset is capable of these features, but it still has to be programmed into the games. And again, for all these like tech heads, it's like, how the fuck are you missing this point? Like, it just shows you, like, I don't know, that like they really are jumping the gun, not paying attention. This is how much little PSVR2 gets attention, and how much little people actually know about how it works, because us that primarily play on it here, and like this isn't just a matter of the hardware being capable. It doesn't just magically fucking work. It doesn't. The headset doesn't add these features to games. So the games have to be programmed in order to use these features. And I think that the way Sony said is that, like, they're saying, like, when you use this, it's not good. All they said, it's very vague, of course, in typical Sony fashion, is that some of these features are not going to be available. And that's because this would require, something to be done on the other end. Now, they could have maybe, produced drivers for it or whatever, but developers are still going to have to go in there and do this. You think Bethesda is going to go into Fallout 2016 and go be like, oh, we need to go back here and add eye tracking and haptics and headset rumble? No. The good news here is what I'm hoping for, and what I'm hearing behind the scenes, is that, the same thing that makes a lot of PC gaming really cool is the modding community and what they're able to do. That's when kind of preparing for the potential of PCVR support, that's been one of the things I've been doing. And a lot of these games that exist, that are playable with like things like these amazing things like Unreal Engine VR, these are doable because of mods. And so I'm thinking what's going to end up happening is, I don't know, what lengths they can add support for all of these features are, but things like eye tracking, things like some other things, I'd imagine modders can go in there and make some of this stuff happen over time, just like they did, like with some of the library that is there. Yes, there are PCVR like native games, and those will just be like kind of like out of the box and ready to work like Half-Life Alyx, you know. But I'll be really interested to see what the modding community here can do and see if they can enable and configure some of these features.
They'll unlock it quick. The eye tracking specifically that PlayStation uses is outsourced. This is Tobii eye tracking. It's something that's existed on PCVR for years before the PlayStation VR2, and there's already code that's fully developed that allows modders to use Tobii eye tracking to enable dynamic foveated rendering in the Steam VR game. So a lot of the groundwork's already done for a lot of this stuff. It's just a question of building out drivers for the specific device and being able to access it from the PC. And I'm sure these guys are going to crack it pretty quick.
Just, I mean, it sucks. Like, the modding community is able to do it, then like, why the fuck isn't Sony doing it? Right? It's like it's pretty typical. Modding community is bringing games into VR. Why isn't Sony doing it? Modding community is going to unlock features on the PSVR2 headset. Why isn't Sony doing it? It's just maddening, man. Like, it's just
because it takes money, and if people are going to do it anyways, what does it matter where it comes from?
Because it just shows a lack of fucking caring. That's why.
I mean, sure, big giant corporation. It's not to them. It's not about caring, Brian. I mean, I know that's they're kind of what they make it seem like, but they're a big giant corporation, and caring doesn't always I mean, like I don't know. I'm not defending them or anything here. Like I'm not disagreeing with you, but this is like this is what PC community does, is they mod shit. So
it's getting,
they find
it's getting
solutions
old.
for problems.
It's getting old. That's all.
So with all of that out of the way, as a avid PCVR gamer and someone who is a PSVR enthusiast, I only have really one concern. It didn't shock me that there wasn't official support for the PlayStation specific features. That didn't shock me. There's only one real question that remains to be seen, and we won't know until the thing launches, and that is, how is the controller support going to be across all of these games? Because as someone who games on HP Reverb G2, I can say compatibility isn't 100% for it. If you're not gaming on an Oculus headset, an HTC Vive, or a Valve Index, then support for your controllers is not guaranteed. Now, typically, this is remedied pretty quickly by the community, because SteamVR has a feature in it that allows people to create custom controller bindings and share them with the community. So if you go into a game and it doesn't officially support your controllers, all you have to do is go into the pause menu, go to community bindings, and you'll see whatever the top one is. You click on that, and now all of a sudden your controllers work. But with my Reverb, that isn't always the case. Normally it is, but sometimes it's not. So how well are these controllers supported at launch is a relevant question to ask, and unfortunately we won't know until the thing launches.
Yeah, there's definitely still some unanswered questions for sure, but I'd imagine the box, though, I mean, that it says that it supports the it says that that Rumble will be supported. So while the haptics are not there, I was like getting ready to get, like, really, I was about to throw a chair until they said at least it has Rumble, and I was like, okay, like, because at the very least, no Rumble would be unacceptable to me. But obviously we do want, it would be really cool to get some of these additional features here.
I think that this is, with regard to the haptics specifically, that this is a limitation of Bluetooth. You know, everyone has different Bluetooth capability with their computer, and I know that the DualSense, like the regular DualSense controller, does support advanced haptics and adaptive triggers on Sony supported games on Steam.
Right.
Like games that you would play on PlayStation, if you're playing them on Steam, you'll get the same effects, but not wirelessly. You have to plug in the controller directly into your computer to access that stuff. And where obviously you're not going to be plugging in your VR controllers into a computer, that's probably why they're not announcing official support for those features.
All right, I think that pretty much wraps up the PC blog post.
Bryan has,
Thank you,
Bryan has no fucking interest in PCVR.
Oh my
support.
god! Like I was like, do we have to talk about that this episode? Oh, yeah, I guess some people will care.
He has no interest.
No interest.
Click the links in the description to stay up with the latest on PC support.
Yep,
with PSVR2.
100%. And I mean, you know, I still play, honestly, like I've been diving into PC stuff more. I still like, you know, obviously some of the people that are unhappy are, you know, for good reason, they want support on the PS5, which is completely understandable. And yeah, like so do I. But again, I don't see anything wrong with having more options to play, more ways to get mileage out of my PSVR2 headset. This is actually like a really, really big deal to me, even though I'll be, you know, focusing on, like, I've always liked playing on the PS5 the most, but I'm really, really excited to explore this. So Wes, I will happily explore this avenue with you, my friend.
Absolutely. You know what does suck though?
Where we're going, we don't.
Yeah, we don't need roads. You know what we need? We don't need consoles either. You know what we do need though? We need to buy a fucking DisplayPort cable because Sony's not including it.
I saw you call that out on your show.
Yeah. Come on.
You asshole. Gotta get it. I mean, luckily they're cheap, but yeah. You know, the PSVR2 and even with the PS5 is capable of like so much. So there's tons of cool things. What I've learned is that, you know, I like good VR, and good VR is, you know, more expensive, which is why like I liked when I started testing out stuff. Like I never really liked standalone. I don't like Quest graphics, you know, nothing against it. Like there are obviously people prefer wireless over graphics apparently, like, you know, but something did click and resonate with me with PCVR. So I'm super stoked to have this combination of my PS5 and a PC to work with here with my headset. Yeah, can't wait. More on that later before Bryan fucking has a stroke over there.
No, it's okay. The chat's already turned on me. People are unsubscribing by the second, which is cool. Time to do something else with my life anyway. No, dude, like, again, I'm a console gamer. I've been a console gamer since fucking 95, I think.
Me too.
You know, but actually before that, Sega Genesis was like 90, I think.
I had a little stint in 98. There was some good golden PC years in 1998.
Yeah,
StarCraft.
Such a big PC gamer, like before I got my Sega Genesis. You know, point and click adventure games, all that stuff. I'm just like, hey, I don't dislike PC gaming. I don't dislike the Quest. I just like, if I'm going to play games, I'm going to play on my PS5. I'm going to play. I'm going to use my PSVR2 because that's where I'm at, man. That is where I'm at, and you know, fucking respect each other's preferences, guys.
Absolutely.
That's all it is.
Absolutely.
You know. So I'm thrilled. I would never be unhappy about this news. I'm thrilled that people who want this feature are getting this feature. Like that is awesome. So, moving on, we got the Marvel Sod with the $50 tip, killing it, saying, although disappointed by Astro Bot. Ooh, here we go. These tips came in like a while ago, so sorry that we didn't get to them sooner. Although I'm disappointed by Astro Bot, I'm hopeful a VR mode will be released. I will buy the game regardless. I'm responding with the PSVR2 responses, I'm responding with the PSVR2 response to anything about the new Astro Bot game. Stay awesome, everyone. Keep pushing that VR mode. Yeah, whether it be Astro Bot Rescue Mission 2, a remaster for Astro Bot Rescue Mission 1, a VR mode for Astro Bot. Listen, I'm the eternal optimist when it comes to PSVR. I haven't lost hope for at least one of those things to happen soon. Macho,
It would be
Macho,
awesome.
Macho, the real estate procrastinating Gamecat with a $10 tip. What's up, Macho? Says, on a good note, once Astro Bot comes to PC, modders can inject it in VR. We can play using the adapter. That may be the closest we get to it. I'm sorry, Macho, I should have read this fucking 35 minutes ago. That may be the closest we get to it, and that's fucked up in so many ways, he says. It is fucked up, but it's also, some people are going to get what they want.
Yeah.
Ellipse DJ with the 5 quid says, are Quest 2 and 3 helping to prop up VR in general or pulling focus and support from the PSVR2? Some exclusive titles only on Meta. Heart this community. Love this community. Love you, Eclipse DJ. I think it's a combo, right? Like I don't think anything's ever black and white. I do think that, you know, we've said, or I've said at least since Quest 1 first came out, that, you know, like this that it's holding VR back a little bit. That, like, you know, more people are looking for AAA games, but I think that's becoming less and less true as time goes on. And the fact that, you know, you don't need a PlayStation 5 or a PC to play Quest games means that more people are trying VR. And so in my book, like, it's kind of a gateway drug. You know, at some point people go, oh, you can fucking play Village and RE4 Remake and Gran Turismo 7. Like, you know, they might put their Quest 2 or Quest 3 down and go, damn, there's more VR out there than I knew of. Or you know, or now attach their PSVR2 to the PC and have this brand new library. So I think it's all a gateway drug, and I think it's all good. We're just starting out.
There is something that did catch my attention a little bit. Herman Hulse did some meeting that I think it was the day before the State of Play. And he did kind of talk about like a roadmap, like a breakdown. I haven't seen this conference yet. Like, I need to find a video thing of it. I just saw some people like posting about it, posting some clips from what he showed. This is the same place where he was talking about like and people were asking about like their support for like first party and how it's coming to PC. But in that presentation somewhere, it looked like he had like a spreadsheet or something, like a PowerPoint kind of thing, that was showing about like the 3 tiers of Sony's like structure for their games. Number 1 was like the tentpole games, like the single player narrative driven, like, you know, AAA cinematic adventures things like your Uncharted's or your Horizons and stuff like that. Tier 2 was their live service games, and he talked about like these being their live service games are going to be basically most likely day and date with PC release. And then there was a tier 3 that they talked about, experimental. And in this category, they had things like sort of like accessories. They had the Portal, the PlayStation Portal, I think that's what it's called, the little handheld device, and they had the PSVR2 in that. So just the little breadcrumb. Obviously, we have to wait and see something, but the little, oh my goodness, the little breadcrumb that we've been given in terms of that seems like it made me curious, Wes. I don't know what you think about this, but I was thinking about if they plan to kind of use their first party studios to kind of experiment with different projects and IPs, and maybe to see, like, you know, either to test the technology to see like what cool things they can come up with, or if they actually like you know, what they mean by that classification. I could just be reading a lot, like too much into that, but I would be curious to see if they do kind of like if they do something with that.
Yeah, I would say, you know, that they look at VR very much as a technology in development right now. Obviously, it isn't in its final form, and I think that's kind of what they mean by that. There's a lot of new technology in the PSVR2 headset that very much classifies it kind of as experimental. We haven't really even fully unlocked all the potential and all the different uses for the features that it has. So I think it's most likely what they mean by that.
Yeah.
Here, let's tackle the next tip here. Dead Ranger, the Gamecat with the level 1 memberships, hits Hitman 3. After that, I'll stick with Compound. Ooh, we did hear from the Compound developer recently. He was having internet problems, ISP problems, and which is crazy to think that that's holding up the release of an entire game. But he's working out the final kinks, and that game should be out soon. Very, very cool. Mark with the $5 tip says, great show. Heads up, Kayak Discord posted update will be 6/12, and the new update trailer will be released same day. Hope this is MP. Great transition, Mark. That was the next news story on our run of show. Yeah, I mean, as Mark said, over on the Kayak VR Discord, they've announced that we will be getting the update for Kayak VR Mirage next week. Still, to my knowledge, they have not announced what this massive update will bring. I mean, Wes, are we hoping for multiplayer? Is that the goal?
Yeah,
here?
well, I'm hoping for any kind of gamified game mode, even if it were single player. I would like to see this beautiful title give me a reason to go in there, other than just to walk around and drool at the graphics and sound. So yeah, I'm hopeful multiplayer would be good, because even if it is just a tech demo, tech demos can be fun if you've got someone in there with you laughing at the turtle and the dog, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
multiplayer would have to be like half of it, right? Like it like something huge that could really turn the game around. The state of it would be multiplayer and mode.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess, right. What kind of mode are you thinking?
Well, more like level design or something, whether it be like the whitewater rafting rapids or whatever that they talked about. Just something fun, something to make the game a little bit more fun.
Even some kind of like exploration mode where you're collecting things and searching things out would be cool.
A giant lake with a bunch of people. Yeah, anything.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm fascinated by this game. I have not been back in since launch. I've been kind of holding off. I was like, man, I was going as soon as I was like, okay, I need to focus on a review now that I've kind of gotten a few launch titles out of the way. Then developer was talking about the multiplayer mode and all these new additions he wanted to bring, and I was like, well, let's hold off. There's a lot of other shit happening right now. So I am very much looking forward to this, to finally give myself an excuse to jump back in. I'm with you, AJ. I hope there are rapids implemented into this, because we've seen videos of other games that look very much like Kayak VR Mirage, look practically photorealistic, just like Kayak VR Mirage with rapids, and it looks so much more exciting than the game that we've got. It would suck for this guy to have created a photorealistic game with great kayak physics and then not expand and actually be able to compete with the newer, more exciting kayak games coming out.
Zombie mode. That's what it needs.
Zombie.
Well, Miles in the chat says, and fishing, which fucking signed me the fuck up for, right? Like, let's row out into the middle of the water and then just toss the oar.
Still missing a dope fishing game.
Dude, yeah, where the hell's catch and release, Mr. Garber? I say Mr. because I fucking keep forgetting your first name. It's not Steven.
Where's Mr. Garber?
Jason?
It's Jason.
Jason. I say Steven every time.
You still want to call him Steven?
I do. It's Steven. In my head, his name is Steven Garber. I apologize, Jason Garber. I'm a moron.
Let's find him first and make sure he's okay. And then we'll go from there.
His Twitter has been dead for a long time. So anyway, this has been a long time coming. We've literally been waiting since soon after launch, the PSVR2 launch. So over a year for this update. It's still strange that he hasn't announced what it is, but obviously it's big enough that a trailer will be involved on the release day. So everybody stay tuned for next week.
Stay frosty.
Sorry, Scott. Scott says it's paddle out, Brian, not row out. I don't leave my apartment, right? Like the fact that you'd even think I know anything about something that happens in a body of water. I don't even know what happens in my hallway. All right, dude. So many updates. In fact, it's coming to PSVR2 games. We just got an announcement from Incuvo that the Green Hell VR multiplayer update is happening in Q4 of this year. So that's really reassuring. Do Do we know? I know I should have researched this beforehand, but do we know if this is a separate mode for Green Hell, or if this is like you get to play through the campaign with a friend?
Well, I think it's sandbox survival mode. I don't think that it's the campaign.
Any chance it's open world, or is it just more like the survival mode or something?
Well, what do you mean?
So the flat game is open world. The VR game is like more like open areas, and there's the story mode, of course, and then there's the survival mode, which is basically just go out there and have fun and survive in the wilderness.
But you don't get the whole map in the survival mode.
You do get the whole map. It starts you out someplace random, like one random spot, and then you have to just kind of make your way from there and survive.
I think that's what it is. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's what it is. It's just like that, but you have people with you.
My hope was that it would actually include like some kind of open world thing. I know that's, a long shot, but God, that would be so cool.
I still don't understand what you mean by that. If the whole map's open and you can go where you want.
Like, isn't the original game like open world? Like there's no loading screens. It's not divided into sections. Is that not the way the original game was?
I think I can't remember if there's.
I thought the original game was open
world. The original game had a larger map. That was one of the biggest differences, that there was more space between the areas in the game.
I remember it being advertised as open world, but okay.
Yeah, I guess my hope that the campaign would be co-op doesn't make any sense, because the narrative doesn't really support you being out there with two other people. It would be very strange, I guess.
Just an extra person tacked on.
Yeah, right? It's like, oh, don't worry. I got Anthony over here. Anthony's really good at this shit. It's like, oh, okay, well, no one's concerned anymore. But an update we don't have to wait for anymore is actually out now, and also from Incuvo, and that's the Bulletstorm VR update. I'm pretty sure we all checked that out today. Did we all check that out today?
I did check that out today, actually.
Nice. Were you pleasantly surprised with it as well, Wes? Because I was like, oh wow, this is really sharp.
Yeah. It looks really great now. I actually enjoyed it. I started my campaign over, erased my progress, because I didn't play this on PlayStation 3 when it originally came out. So when I first tried it in VR, it was my first time playing it. And I didn't think it was terrible. Like I didn't have as much negative to say about it as like a lot of people did. But I did obviously see that it was lacking a whole lot of polish. And while it's still the same game, I mean, if you didn't like the core gameplay before, this is no different. It is much more polished now. Visually, they've added in full manual reloading now if you want, as an option. And I had fun playing this game today, to be honest.
They also added an uncensored mode, right? So you can play the original.
Yep.
It's like the original dialogue, and is it more gore? What was the deal with that?
No, there was a lot of cursing in it, and a lot of funny mid-90s insults with combinations of curse words that normally don't work together like that.
Man,
Stuff you couldn't say in today's day and age.
I played this at lunch. They already included all of that stuff, and that's why there was a warning at the beginning of the.
Maybe now that you can just turn it off. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe it's off now, and you have to go enable it.
Yeah, well, definitely the least of my concerns when it comes to this game. I would like to play through it again now that it's a little bit more polished, and now that it's got. It does look nice. They're using DFR now. That makes a lot of PSVR2 gamers happy. Looks
like it uses reprojection though, right? It definitely seems like it was using reprojection.
There was a little bit of ghosting around some of the text on the screen, but I didn't really notice it in the world or the characters or anything.
I actually noticed this a lot more than I usually do. But I don't think it didn't bother me or anything, but just pointing it out that to me, it seemed like it. Like I did the little hand thing, and it seemed like up there with like Horizon in terms of like the amount of like ghosting and whatnot, just from a technical standpoint. And also some of the darker areas like weren't as dark. They were kind of like you get that kind of projection screen looking thing. That being said, I still do think it looks leagues better than what it did at launch. Good God, it did not look very good. So yeah, I think it's a good idea. Maybe I'm with you, Wes. I might restart just from the beginning and just like, cause yeah, I started this game with like at launch and it was rough, like really rough. And then I played it after the next update and it was like better, but it was like still kind of, and now it's like nice and polished looking. So, I do want to, I do want to give this game another shot because it had potential.
Lots of talk.
So this is Incuvo. Has the Green Hell gotten this treatment now? Is it on like this level?
It looks
of
nice.
improvement?
I think Green Hell, yeah, might look better actually, but
Really looked like dog shit last time I was in there. It's been a
was
while.
that a long time ago?
Been a while.
Been a while. Yeah.
God
Yeah, Green Hell is another one I got to check out, especially before this Saturday's top 25 debate. Because I gotta check in on that and see how the updates have gone. Vertigo 2, gotta check in on that, see how the updates have gone. A lot of games that just like I'm like I have no idea what the current state of these games are. Like I thought Green Hell, like don't get me wrong, listen, it was blurry, right? Like 5 feet out, it was like definitely blurry. And you're like, what the fuck? But the last time I jumped in, they had cleaned everything up. Everything was really sharp. However, I believe the Spirits of the Amazonia DLC fucking chugged, man. Like the frame rate was bad, right? Like very, very stuttery. So I got to get in and like really see what this current state is. But we'll be talking about all of that on Saturday as we go through each game and debate their merits.
Saturday.
Yeah, the live stream's already set up. If you guys didn't know we were doing a top 25 debate, the live stream's already set up. We're doing it at noon. I'm going to try to get, we've kind of got Looper, the Gamecat, who's managing this a little bit for us, and making sure that we kind of are able to do this in a more expeditious sort of way, and maybe in a way that's a little bit more visually pleasing for the viewers, rather than me just typing in a database. So we'll be working on that all week to make sure that the show on Saturday is not 7 hours long. My goal, 3 hours, and I'll have some timers set to make sure we hit different milestones at different times. All right, guys, one more update from a developer about a PSVR2 game, and that is Joyway talking about Stride Fates. Stride Fates had some issues at launch, still has some issues. Did not launch with DLC 2, only DLC 1. But Joyway did say this month, I believe June, because this message came out, I believe, on the last day of last month. They said next month we'll be releasing DLC 2 for PSVR 2, fixes and graphical improvements to PSVR 2. So, I mean, I've got my fingers crossed. However, I don't think it'll make the game more enjoyable to play, but I do think that this game has some fundamental problems that no amount of patches or graphical fixes. And I had the same issue with Bulletstorm. Like I was like, there's just some games that like no amount of patches are going to fix. But I'm hopeful because I wanted to love Stride Fates.
Stride Fates. Oh, good. Sorry, Wes.
No, go ahead. I was just going to shit on it. You go ahead.
I was going to shit on it too. I was going to say, does the patch redesign the game from the ground up? Because that's the only thing that could really fix it.
I wasn't going to shit on it like that. I was going to say, how is it possible that they made this game look worse on PlayStation than it does on Quest? Because that's exactly what they did. I was going to wonder if they've put the work in to enable DFR, and I bet you that they haven't, because that's not easy. And that's one thing I meant to say a minute ago. Shout out to Incuvo for putting in that work on Bulletstorm. It's not an easy thing, depending upon each individual situation, of course. But I've actually looked at this quite a bit lately, and we're going to talk about this some on my show Monday about how much work this possibly can be depending upon the scenario. So shout out to Ian Kubo and
Sticking with it.
come on, Joyway. Do it, Joyway. I know it doesn't make any monetary sense to do it, but you brought this game to a platform. Now you have to support it. Make it right.
If
please.
if they can make it good, then word will get out and you can get more sales, right? But like I wouldn't
make it.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go on. I was going to say they should make it so that the enemies won't kill themselves on the baseball bat if you just hold it up in front of them.
And patch in different voice actors too. While you're at it, there's everything, man. Just patch in, release a patch that turns the game into Stride 1 remastered.
Oh jeez.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
No, do that. It's so much better.
Listen, I would kill for all the modes of Stride 1 to be included in Stride Fates. Right? Give me a $15 DLC and I will buy it. Because I enjoyed that way more than what I played in Stride Fates. I know that's not everybody's feeling, but that's how I feel.
Yeah. They got shit on so much at launch too.
Yeah, I bet they're so sorry that they came to PSVR2 now. I bet they so regret
it. Well, because it sounds like Quest gamers are just more forgiving of games in general, right? Because they're like, oh, none of these problems are on Quest, and I was like, you're telling me they released a different game on Quest? Like some of the level design is just terrible. Anytime in a parkour game that they make you do stealth, anytime they make you do, they take away your ability to jump, they take away your ability to climb. Like it's just, you've taken all the fun things away for way too long. And like wave shooter levels, I'm like, listen, it's not on Quest. It's on Quest. It's the same game, and it's not great. AJ, I've got to ask you, where the fuck did you dig Death Relives out of? Because you posted that in our Discord news channel, the announcement of a new PSVR2 game. The
credit does not go to me, Brian. The credit does not go to me. The credit goes to the Virtual Resistance on Twitter, who left a comment, and I saw it, and I just know you, and I know the types of games you like. And I posted it in the Discord.
Good games.
Basically for you.
Yes.
Horror games. So no, shout out to Virtual Resistance for finding that. And he was, because it was so random too. Like, I mean, he was just as shocked as I to see that they're like announcing this game. They're like, we have this huge announcement. The game is not going to be exclusive just to PS5 anymore. It's also going to be on PS4. And then it was like, hashtag PSVR2. And it's like, what the fuck is going on here? But yeah, man. I checked it out and I was like, oh, this is interesting. I'm definitely going in with low expectations, but interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean the follow-up tweet that explained the PSVR2 hashtag was that once the game is out, they will begin work on a PSVR2 mode. But once the game is out, they got to get it out on Xbox and PS4 and PS5 first. And I found that kind of fascinating because, like, especially with the narrative surrounding PSVR2 at the moment, you get a smaller dev team like this who's making a flat screen game. They're suddenly they're bringing it to PlayStation 4, not just PS5, right? It's like you gotta wonder, like, what was the conversation that happened that changed that direction to say that it's not just on PS5, now it's on PS4 and Xbox. Obviously, we want to get it in the hands of as many gamers as possible, but then to say also PSVR2, like that to me is fascinating because the current narrative around PSVR2 is not a good one. And so when there's a development studio out there that's like, hey, what's the best way to get this into the hands of more gamers? I don't think the first answer that people come up with is, oh, we should get this on PSVR2 as well. Oh, to me, this sounds like Sony steps in and goes, hey, you should probably bring this to PS4 and we'll throw you some money if you can get it on, give it VR support. That's what it sounds like to me. I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Yeah, there's definitely something at play here. And there's really only three possibilities. And one is the one that you said, that Sony came in and said, hey, here's a little bit of money if you can enable VR2 support. We'll give you a little bit of help if you want to take on this endeavor and give our gamers something to play. The other possibility is some third party has come in that works on porting these games and said, if you guys want to do it, we'll do the majority of the work for you. We'll give you a cut of the profits. from VR sales or whatever, and all you got to do is sign on the dotted line. And the last option, which is possible as well, is that these guys are just artists and they played VR and they were wowed by it and they just want to make a fucking VR game because it's awesome. Certainly could be the case as well. Well, maybe they will find out.
Yeah. Or in option 4, they find out how hard it is to add PSVR2 support, and that falls by the wayside within the next 6 months. But yeah, they are calling this a survival horror game. Actually, we can get quite a bit more information about this over on the Steam page, where you'll be playing all of your PSVR2 games soon enough. That's a horrible way to look at things. So here, let's read through the description real quick here. Maybe, what? That's not,
Lordy!
Just trying to bury the channel as quickly as possible.
Not all of my games. Just Sony first party title games like Returnal.
Yeah, not all of the games.
Ace Combat 7
right.
And
just God of War Ragnarok,
Spyro.
I love this. Over on the Steam page, the reviews says Death Relives -IGN. Oh wait, hold on a second. Oh, I thought that was the review. But I can click the IGN link here. Let me see what happens. Nothing. Okay, moving on. I don't think it's actually out on any platforms yet. So they're just expecting an IGN review and they're like, placeholder. He's right behind you in every step you take. You should stay hidden and evade him during the whole journey while also solving the puzzles along the way. You have no superpowers, only mere equipments. Super rich linear progression. Put yourself in the shoes of Adrian and try to rescue your mother from being sacrificed by the Aztec god. Learn about the secrets of Aztec history. Powered by Unreal Engine 5's latest technologies. A lot of pluralizations here where they don't make sense. Immerse yourself in a mansion which was host to an Aztec god for decades. Death Relives is a 3D first-person survival horror action exploration game. I don't know if they could have crammed any more words into that genre. A 3D first-person survival horror action exploration game. And Knuckles.
The fuck you mean 3D?
Right. You will enter a nightmarish world where surviving a long-forgotten god is the ultimate objective. Explore real historic places from Aztec mythology as you utilize unique combat and stealth mechanics to fight against the ancient Aztec god and send his soul to Mictlan. I don't know how to pronounce that. The underworld of Aztec mythology. Listen, I'm excited for every new PSVR2 game that comes our way. But this one seems right up my alley. And so I'm excited for it.
It seems pretty good from the little bit I've seen.
I like the environments. I think they look really good. The lighting and shadows and stuff look really good. I love to be in horror games that lock me in giant mansions. It's like one of my favorite things. The Aztec god, he looks a little funny, man. I don't know how scared I'm going to be of that guy.
Aztec gods look though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Or if just gods in general.
So
if you want to
historical accuracy, is that what we're going for?
But by the way, Brian, the Deathly Relives IGN, that is a quote. It's in quotation marks.
I know, that's why I was so confused.
Somebody from IGN said the name of their game.
Listen, small victories, Wes. Small victories.
What happened? I guess I'll just find out later.
Yeah, just rewatch the show.
Okay.
Listen, new PSVR2 game announcements. I'm going to celebrate each and every one. This one was great. Yay. So shout out to, who's it? You said it's the VR Resistance, Virtual Resistance. Is that who's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
The homie.
Good. Shout out to that guy.
Viva la Resistance.
Yep. All right, guys, we got one more thing to talk about here, and that comes to us from our friends at TunerMax, the developers behind Rainbow Reactor Fusion, which 17 of you bought. Congratulations. Well done, everybody. But they are, you guys probably remember the announcement of their new game called Snow Scout, because we covered it at length here on the channel. This was the game that they said we'll port it over to PSVR2, if we get enough people to wishlist it on the PlayStation Store. They did that, and it is happening. And then they gave us, so there's two stories that we actually need to talk about here, guys. The first one is that they gave us a new trailer. Pay no attention to the frame rate of this trailer because it was captured in the least ideal way. But here we go. It's a Snow Scout interactivity trailer. And so basically they're saying, we've updated this game from the PCVR version. Now all these items are able to be interacted with. Stuff that was just sitting on tables before, you can now pick them up and interact with them. There are now light switches that you couldn't do anything with before. Now you can turn on and off individual lights with light switches. And so they're just kind of giving us an update on saying, hey, we're really trying to go all in on the PSVR2 version and give these updates. And yes, these updates will come to the PCVR version as well at the launch of PSVR2. So no need to be jealous, PC gamers. This is the first part. I just wanted to show it off because I'm happy this game is coming, and I'm happy that it's getting the love that it deserves. It will be running at 90 native, so again, it kind of ignore this frame rate.
I am going to pick up Rainbow Reactor on this sale too. Check it out.
Sweet. I don't want to say the more interesting part of this story is what's going on with Unity, but these developers are reacting to the Unity situation. Basically, to publish games and use Unity on the PlayStation platform is suddenly getting more expensive. Wes, way more. Wes, I don't want to try to speak on this with the most minimum of details. I'm sure that you are far more well versed in this. Can you explain what's happening with Unity and PlayStation?
So there was news late last year, and everyone probably noticed that there was a huge uproar in the entire development community as Unity pretty much ripped up their entire terms of service and restructured how they're going to be billing people, developers, going forward. And at the time, many of us, including developers, didn't really know what that meant for them specifically. But Unity basically just gave everyone a big trust me, bro. And the story went away for a while. But now we're starting to see these changes take place. And there's a certain category of indie dev that is kind of falling through the cracks. And this is very much a fluid situation that isn't fully understood even by the developers themselves, but it appears that there's a change in the Unity pricing structure that's going to require small indie devs that were already working on a low cost to free license to be able to publish their game on Sony's platform, that just because they're on PlayStation, they're being automatically required to upgrade their account status to what's called a pro plan. And basically, for a lot of these smaller developers who are already struggling to keep their game and support it on PlayStation VR2, it's making it economically unfeasible for them, because whereas before they had to pay little to nothing, now they're having to pay thousands of dollars each year to Unity just to be a PlayStation developer. And it isn't just these guys. We've seen the Masternoid developer speak out recently, basically saying that he's not really going to be able to publish games on PlayStation anymore if Unity enforces this and doesn't create an exception, and go back to charging people based on the amount of volume that they're selling like they did before.
When it comes to a studio like TunerMax, where the sales on Rainbow Reactor Fusion on PSVR2 were so low that they didn't even make their money back on the port. It's not like the game was developed for PSVR2. They were just porting it to PSVR2. They did not make their money back on the sales, right? And so then on top of that, so when you say they're already losing money, it's a small studio, and then on top of that, they're getting hit with this sudden new charge of $1,800, which doesn't sound like a lot for like a huge, single A or triple A studio. For a studio that's already losing money on their games, is like, who can justify this? Who can justify this expense? doesn't sound like a lot of money until you realize that they're losing money when they port games over here, and it makes the whole situation even worse. I mean, it's crazy to me that this is a PlayStation. Is it? Maybe I'm wrong. This is a PlayStation specific problem.
This specific problem is a PlayStation problem, but the problem is larger than just this. This is one manifestation of a larger issue. For example, the big screen developers recently spoke out because they were already on the Pro plan, which is what these people are complaining about. But now Unity's making them go up to the next tier. And for those of you who don't know, Big Screen is basically the publisher of a free to play app on PC and Meta platforms. And used to, Unity was charging them by what their bottom line was, you know, what kind of money that they're bringing in. And much like what's happening to these smaller indie devs, that is no longer the case. They are using different criteria to categorize these developers. And without looking at specifics of the situation, putting certain studios into positions that are not sustainable for their business. Unity's screwing themselves, basically, is what's happening here, because basically they've turned on all of their developers. Absolutely no one is happy about this. This isn't helping anyone. It's going to get a brief influx of money into Unity, but what's going to happen long term is that developers are going to leave that platform. They're going to move to Unreal. They're going to move to other engines, and they're just not going to deal with Unity anymore.
Right. And it's important to say like how hard it is to switch from one engine to another on top of it, right? Like this is not, if anybody out there is like, well, simple solution, switch from Unity to Unreal. It's not that easy, right? Like you're going to spend a small fortune bringing your game over, importing all the assets, it's just not feasible. Again, especially when it comes to smaller studios like this. So it's a horrible situation to be in. I feel like Unity just keeps dropping the ball over and over and just trying to fuck over everyone. And then they like kind of like roll things back a little bit. And then the next thing you know, they're fucking people over again. Like this is just sucks, man. Like it really sucks because the people who are getting affected the most are the people, you know, who can't afford it. The VR industry has been carried by small indie developers for the last 8 years, and this is going to be horrible. This is going to be horrible for a while, and so hopefully Sony can step in. Hopefully, Unity retracts this decision, and to at least give people enough time to publish their games, and then honestly, get the fuck away from Unity, right? So. Is if the video game industry didn't have enough problems.
Right. Now, there was a huge uproar about this late last year. I even wrote an article on it because it wasn't just VR devs. It wasn't just small devs. It was VR and flat, large and small. People were like, this is bullshit. Can't believe they're doing this. And again, they kind of told everyone that they would revisit it, and trust me, we're gonna take care of you. And apparently that is not the case.
Right. Man, I hate to end on a bad note. So we're not going to. Also, I have no idea which one of you guys is hosting 20 questions. Who did it last week? Anybody know? Just because I'm going to read through some tips here. But
God, I've been here for a month. I have no idea.
All right, Wes, then if you haven't been here for a month, I'm pretty sure it's your turn to host 20 questions.
All right. Just talk for about 3 minutes while I find a game.
Yeah, we got some tips to talk about here. Let's see. Did we already give a shout out to Dead Ringer for the Hitman 3? After that, I'll stick with Compound level 1 membership. Dude, I can't wait for Compound. It looks great. We're backwards here. It's Richie gifted 10 without Parole memberships. You mentioned that earlier, but thank you again. It's Richie. Paradise Decay with the 2 quid says, did you see Astro Bot 2024 trademark for VR? Yes, we did. And we did talk about that. Again, I know that some of these tips are really, really outdated. False alarm. But you know, again, anything's possible. Playing 71 esports commentator for hire. The level 2 membership says some clever sod with mod the shit out of PSVR2 and make all the missing features work one day for sure. Absolutely. Time to play VR with the 2 quid says, thanks, PD. It's an honor. You gave me a huge smile. I feel like, Thank you for the tip, but sounds like I missed something in the chat. Sorry. Grandpa's Barbecue or Gamecat with the Australian $10 tip says, I'm looking at getting a PC and buying the adapter. My earlier comment on Sony abandoning PSVR2, I was referring more to software and relying on third-party games for the headset. Yep, it's kind of par for the course. Also kind of par for PS5. They've been extremely quiet about first-party studios and what they're working on. There's still easily 16 studios. I think that's the last count that Rypop gave me. 16 out of the 20 studios, 20 plus studios. We still don't know what they're working on. It's maddening. Like, what is going on? So yeah, it's across the board. It's not just a VR problem, but it is also a VR problem. Miles Dyer with the level 2 membership says 15 months too long. I'll tell you, out of context, that makes no sense, Miles. I love you so much. Laura May VR with the 65 Sekiro says, off-topic question. This is the perfect tip, because there was no way after 30 minutes this was going to be on topic. Laura says, late to playing Gran Turismo 7 and wondering if it's possible to drive any convertible cars with the roof down. AJ.
Oh, so many.
Mm-hmm.
What convertible are you driving that has the roof? I've got like 400 hours in this game. I have no idea which car. Yeah, no, there's tons of cars. There's
I don't think she meant which ones can you put the roof down in. I think she's just more generally asking, are there convertibles
question
in here?
Yes, there are. And AJ's talked about those on the show before, talking about how cool it is to be playing without a roof, right? That feels like a completely different experience.
Yeah, Laura, I highly recommend. It is one of the most amazing feelings. Also, get a fan on you. Get a fan blowing on you, and yeah,
you have to vest.
I was going to say, and spend $600 on a vest.
More on that later.
Right. And $700 on a racing rig. And
yes, like I said, good VR is expensive, but that's where it's at, man. But no, all you need is a simple fan. That doesn't cost a lot, Brian. I
agree with the fan statement. I've been saying fan since Farpoint. Okay, turning on a fan and feeling like you're on an alien planet with wind blowing around you. Fans are awesome in VR.
Yeah, well, fan is just crucial. I don't think I could play without a fan. Just anything, because it keeps you cool. But there's two uses like in this regard, which is like you get a little bit more immersion for it, which is awesome. Not only fans, Bob Zarkov.
I'm glad you read that, because I was about to read it too. I'm glad we all get off topic in the exact same way.
Only fans. That's all you need. It's only fans.
We all get off topic in the exact same way. We all get off topic in the exact same way. You know who else likes to get off topic, Wes? Harry with the 10 quid just sends a smiley face. Thank you so much, Harry.
Hi, Harry.
We love you. All right, guys, it is time to do some 20 questions. I'm going to bet a pizza. I think this is probably against the rules. I should probably get disbarred from my hosting rules. I'm going to bet a pizza against us. I don't think you're allowed to bet against yourself on this. Oh,
you're going to throw the fight? Is that what's about to happen here?
Yes.
You bet on yourself and then just guess something on the first guess.
Right.
Guess the
game. Is it the Martian VR experience?
How great would it be if you got it right though?
Yeah. Mars on Earth.
Unearthing Mars. Oh my God. Yeah.
Ugh.
All right. AJ, are you ready, AJ?
Yeah.
I need you to be with me and not against me. I know it's an uncommon position for us both to be in.
I quit.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we got this, man. We got this. We've got a wealth of knowledge in the PSVR space.
We sure do. And all of it goes right out the window the second the timer starts. Wes, is this hard mode? Is this going to be hard mode? Are you really testing the abilities of me and AJ here?
No.
Okay.
This won't be a very.
Was that question number one?
No. I haven't started the timer.
That's
15.
Nothing counts before the timer. On your mark. Get Des. Go. Wes, was this on PSVR 1?
It was.
Is it a Marvel IP?
What?
It is not.
Oh my God.
Damn.
PSVR 1. Was it also on PSVR 2? These are the important questions we need to ask.
It is.
Okay. That narrows it down.
Is it survival?
No, it's not.
Is there any multiplayer? If there's leaderboards, don't count as multiplayer.
Okay, I don't even know if there is any kind of leaderboard, but there's definitely no active multiplayer.
Okay.
Is there shooting in this game?
I don't think so. No.
Would you call this a puzzle game?
No, that's 7.
Is it horror?
No.
I'm out. Let's see. Let's see what the chat has to say. Did this developer make other games on PSVR1 or PSVR2 beside this game?
Yes.
Okay. That's good. Not a one and done.
Is it a flight sim?
It is not. That's 10.
Is there any third person element to it? Controlling any characters in third person?
No.
Okay. The chat was really gung-ho about Moss.
Is there full locomotion?
Yes.
So it probably uses the moves.
Is there a rhythm element to this? You know what?
No.
Okay, I was going to cancel that, but no.
Rhythm games don't have locomotion.
That's why. That's why. I'm sorry, but yeah, no,
Wait,
not rhythm.
I thought we were together.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm starting to feel the pressure.
Let's see here. Is it sporting related?
No. I'm going to say no on that one.
Gonna say no.
Don't think about that. Just no.
Okay.
Just no.
The reason why I said no is because if I didn't, then you would think about it. So don't think about it. It's not a sports game.
Now I'm gonna think about it. Oh, good question. Bit Jello Boy is asking, is it a roguelike? Roguelike or roguelite?
No, that's 15.
Oh boy.
Is it a type of simulator?
Probably not in the way that you're thinking. It is a realistic game that tries to simulate something, but it's not a simulator, so to speak.
Okay.
Was this game made by Sin Studios?
Got him.
Yeah.
Got him.
Because everyone chooses to think that Swordsman was the only game Sin Studios made, because we'd like to forget about Wraith.
How does Looper
Perfect
always
Sniper.
get it, man? How does Looper always know?
He's a VR savant, man. Is it Swordsman?
I guess it is Swordsman, ladies and gentlemen.
Release
Sin
the
Studios.
Kraken.
You know, Sin Studios recently announced a little bit of information about their next title, and it's not Swordsman 2. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
I mean,
you guys
what-
probably already do, right?
what
No.
did they reveal? Because
Well, they revealed that they are working on. Well, first of all, they landed $2.5 million of venture capital
Woo!
funding for their next title.
Let's go, Sin.
They revealed that they're working on three
Excuse me.
titles currently,
wow,
and that they didn't want to make them all swordsmen because of marketing reasons. So this next title is a sword fighting title.
but it's not
It's
Swordsman
a
2.
person. No, it's not Swordsman 2. It's a PvP, PvP sword fighting title, and they're building up like a special engine around combat mechanics that they're hoping to one day, multiplayer sword fighting game. And they're hoping to one day be able to license their combat engine to be used in other games, not just sword fighting games, but other types of hand-to-hand combat as well.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Grandpa's Barbecue or Gamecat with the level 1 membership says beers. I mean, cheers. Another great GamesCast. I agree. Thank you guys so much for being here. AJ from PSVR Underground, Wes from Virtual Strangers. Guys, really spread the VR love around. Make sure you click the link in the description below and join both of their channels. I was watching Virtual Strangers. So glad to see so many of the Game Cats over there. I don't watch AJ's channel, so I have no idea what's happening over there. But dude, lots of great stuff coming up on all channels. And of course, make sure you tune back in here on Saturday because all the co-hosts will be rounded up. It very seldom happens. I can't even get you guys together for a state of play. So be happy on it because on Saturday we're going to have the whole cast here for a hopefully not 7-hour top 25 debate. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's on Saturday, right? So get your beer, get your pizza.
Play Ancient Dungeon.
I need to play so much. I need to play more RE4.
Oh my goodness!
I was in the hospital away from home when that
right.
game launched. Vertigo 2, same deal, man. I got to get in and check out Vertigo 2 on PlayStation and see the state of that thing. Because it's either going to be bad or it's going to be top 5. So I need to find out which one it is.
Yeah, as far as I know, all the bugs have been taken care of in Vertigo 2. Although I guess they did go on the record recently and say that it's not getting the level creator or the bottomless thing. Like they're not adding more content. They're not delivering all the stuff they promised to Vertigo 2.
Fine.
I mean, that's fine for me, right? Because that's not stuff I cared about. But there are definitely gamers out there, that are not us that did care about that and felt like they were looking forward to that. My hope is that they're not done patching it in terms of performance, right? Because if that thing ran silky smooth from start to finish, it would probably be a top 5 for me.
It's an amazing campaign on PC.
Magnum Gaming with the $5 tip says Sony may cut the price on PSVR2 now with more potential PC buyers, and because of the lack of features on PC, and pass that down to PS5 only owners too. I'm gonna like it and heart it. It's awesome.
Oh, you can heart those too.
Yeah,
aww.
Right. Look at that. So just thank you, Magnum Gaming. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Guys, everybody who supports us financially, you're fucking incredible. Over on patreon.com/withoutparolegames, over here by being a member, by tipping during the show. Guys, you're keeping the lights on. I try not to focus on money very much because, I wish I could live a life without it, right? But the bills do need to get paid, and so I do have to say thank you guys. I appreciate all the support. But if you're not a financial supporter, trust me, I love that you're here participating in the chat, keeping us entertained while you try to keep you entertained. Looper for giving us all the 20 questions answers, and all of you guys out there who sit back and watch a show and don't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there. I love you just as much. Here it is, your clip of the week. Cat AJ.
Give motherfucking Cat Rex. I want to say see you guys see you on Saturday for the bloodbath. Are you ready for fighters? Oh, I'm sorry. Play 71 esports commentator for hire says TTFN. Silver Nexus in the house tonight says take care of yourselves and each other. Game Cat metal. Ace Gamer, the Game Cat. All your base are belong to PSVR2. Chrome Colossus, I'm in dreams because it's still amazing. Spoken through a veil of tears. Be better if it was a veil of tears.
Wow.
Mark, Poppin, Pringles, Leaf, thank you so much, man. Glad you enjoyed it. So, Gyson, in the house tonight, fist bump to you, homie. Chris Faldenberry, your mother smells of every and your mother was a hamster, and your father smelt of fallen berries. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. No, Kaya, the Soul Reaving Game Cat, Razia. When are we gonna get Soul Reaver VR, Wes? Let's make that happen.
Can we just have this
I'll see what I can do.
skydiving pilot in the house tonight. Says blue skies and tailwinds, AJ and Gamecats. That's right. I love this, man. Scott, the PSVR Gamecat for life, says Q to cat. Mischievous Markio, the underground Gamecat elite name squad in the house, says Saturday. Bambino Ramos, who had the most wonderful alternative egos for Max Mustard. Did you see that?
I did see all of that, yeah.
Yeah, Steven Sriracha.
Steven Sriracha's pretty good.
Mark Mayonnaise. There was like another one that was like really good.
Kevin Ketchup.
Yeah, Kevin Ketchup. That's what it was. Thank you. I saw it like Rick. What was it? Oh, I can't remember. Oh, Ricky Relish. I love it, man. I love it. We need to pitch. We need to pitch all these to them. Gamecap photo number. Photo Nutter says, "Nice one, fellas. You give me hope." Don't let Bryan ever give you hope.
Hey. That's I mean, it's a little misguided sometimes, but you know.
Snafu says, "Bonesaw is ready." Brandon VR says, "Bet it all on the Mavs." I love it. You guys get that one, right? Awesome Tatum in the house tonight. Firebird Old School, Twitch of the Deuce Juice, Gamecat Behemoth, Dead Ringer the Gamecat, shout out to the juniors, Looper the Underground Gamecat, Elite Name Squad also in the house, Cozy Time. All right, guys.
You ready?
Bryan?
You ready to see what happened on this day in Without Parole history 2021?
I am.
Let's do it.
All you history nerds out there, get ready.
Bro, is Arashi Tenchu in VR? Is it? Was it? What?
It absolutely was.
Also, this is a horrible fucking thumbnail. Someone should fire me. This is awful.
I like that thumbnail.
That doesn't fucking surprise me in the slightest. I've seen your thumbnails. That does not surprise me. Izarashi Tenchu in VR, Sniper Elite VR release date, and another huge PSN sale. Man, 2021, when PSVR should have been, I don't know, not dead, but on its way out. Things were pretty good, huh? We could still get Arashi and Sniper Elite VR. Man. Was that our last good year?
Yeah, around that time, people weren't constantly telling us PSVR is dead because they didn't know it still existed.
No big first-party exclusives in 2021, but somehow still okay.
All those people had already unsubscribed and moved on and said, "Oh, Without Parole still doing stuff?" Didn't fucking realize. Yeah, for real.
Tenchu was pretty good, man. Sniper Elite was great. Good year.
Yeah, I mean, Arashi
that was the year of Song in the Smoke too.
That was the year of Song in the Smoke. Holy crap!
And we had Hitman. We got Hitman 3.
Wait. What was
non Nintendo 64 edition?
So it was 2022 Wanderer and what's it called? And
Moss
Zenith?
Book 2 and Zenith. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, so yeah,
dude, that's the thing. It's like PSVR got supported forever, so there's still a chance.
Awesome. All right, you guys, we're out of here. Thank you so much. We'll see you Saturday. We love you all.